Good evening, folks. Welcome back to another Wednesday night hobby hangout. Hope everybody is well. Hope you've had a nice couple of nights since our last meeting on Monday. What's everybody up to tonight? Let me know in the chat what you're painting, who's just kind of chilling tonight, kicking back, who's got something special on the table. Let me know. So let's see who we've got in the chat. Peter Nicholas, nice and early, along with Dirk was in as well. I think we were just kind of hanging around from about 5:30. Mark Wright was nice and early as well. Hello to you folks. Scott Longworth, good evening mate, nice to see you back mate. I hope you're feeling a little bit more like yourself now, and if not mate, you know where we all are. Ian's in as well, good evening Ian. The Welsh Wanderer says good evening to everyone, good evening to you sir. Phil Wilkinson, hello mate, how are you? Peter Cooman, good evening sir. Marcus is in as well. Mike H is in saying beware of Sneaky Pete BlackJack. Yes, we're not painting Sneaky Pete tonight, but I will beware of him. We've got Jeff Hignan as well. He says good evening everyone. Excuse me. Good evening everyone, he says. He said it's raining and 64 degrees here in Atlanta. Makes it feel like it should be in the UK. Ortega says constantly along but found a little bit of time to sit down with a paintbrush. That can't be bad mate, you found a bit of time for yourself there. Hello Kieran mate, how are you doing? Hello to Christian as well. Christian, how are you mate? How's things? Frantic, good evening to you. Marcus says smash the like button and make Andy dance. Dance like a monkey, eh? Tim Kelly, good evening mate. How are you fella? Six in the head. Hello Palmsy 2. Luke's in as well saying how's everyone doing? Tim's finishing some Burrs and Badgers minis. Doing a bit of assembling tonight as well. Tony Howell, hello to you mate. Big smiley face there. Peacetime Painting, hello, nice to see you in as well. How's things mate? Nice to see you. I was going to say we need to sort out meeting up for that game that we were talking about, but it looks like the North East might have a lockdown on the way again. David Moffat's in as well, saying woohoo, here BlackJack Arenos. Yoakum's in, building some some green steelers, jean steelers tonight even. Marcus is customising these Vargeist wings today. David said he's finishing a video edit and then it's family time maybe. Nice one mate. Ortega's just got an ad for glue there. No, just got an ad for glue. For glue. Red Rose Wargaming says evening all, painting Finvarr as well from Godtear. I'm painting Finvarr from Godtear as well, as you'll have all seen from the image. I'll show you the models in a little bit. Luke said he's chilling, might do some painting in a bit though, just letting some apple crumble go down. Oh, apple crumble mate, I'm still on the health kick. Apple crumble is a long way off yet. Frantic's finishing some Space Marines tonight. Peter's painting his Land Speeder Storm. Nice mate, are you thinking about picking up one of the new ones? Tony's painting his Soul Hunters for Lost World Exodus. Very nice. And Peter's saying he loves a bit of apple crumble. Did you have seconds? You always have to have seconds, mate. That's what apple crumble is for. So yes, let's crack straight on tonight. We are painting Finvarr here. Let me just get him on the shot there. So Finvarr, yes, is one of the champions. He is a guardian for Godtear. Guardians essentially are more, I wouldn't say they were more defensive technically, but they get extra points at the end of a round for protecting their banners. So they tend to be a little bit more kind of harder to shift and more about trying to kind of like get that banner down and protect it. So yeah, Finvarr is the champion. For those not aware of Godtear stuff, just to give you a little idea, so each warband, the game is completely sort of factionless. You can basically pick and choose whatever factions you want to play with each other. The standard game, if you like, or the kind of like the full game, is 3 champions per side, like 3 champions for me, 3 champions for you, and each champion comes with a preset kind of list of its followers as well. I forget what these are called now off the top of my head. I've just looked it up and I forgot already. And these are kind of like sort of samurai elves, if you like. There's definitely a bit of a feel of Assassin's Creed to these as well. I really like them. And these come in the starter box for the... Oh, which one is it called now? The blue and yellow one anyway. I forget which one it's called. There's 2. So I'm sure somebody will tell me in the chat. Arnold Degans says, good evening all. Thank you very much for the donation, fella. So yeah, so there is this is Finvarr, one of his followers. These are another of the followers as well. These are 2 others. So he has 3 followers in total. Some warbands have 1 follower. Some have about 5 or 6 followers. It all depends on the particular rules. And these are, for those that haven't seen them, these are single piece plastics, kind of board game plastic. However, they're really, really strong. Like, I mean, some of these have got a little bit of bend in them, but they would do with normal plastic. But these are rock solid, really, really nice quality sculpts. Let me just try and get a little bit closer here and show you some of the detail on these. You can see kind of on the front there. In fact, you might not be able to see, but there's kind of like a hex pattern on the front. Swords across the back there as well. They're really, really nice quality. And I like the fact I don't have to build them as well, which is always a bonus. I've put a little bit of, you'll be able to see on these ones, I've put some sand on the bases as well there, just to give a little bit of texture and some kind of cork to make rocks and stuff. But yeah, we've put that on. And then each champion has a banner as well. This is the banner that they basically place that you have to try and protect. You get points for placing the banner, and then you get points for protecting the banner as well at the end. So this is the banner for Finvarr and his, I think it's, is it Shadow Stalkers or something? Let me just, let me double check, because I've just had it up a second ago. Let me see what they're called. They are called, I can't remember. Somebody will tell me in the chat, no doubt. So yeah, we're going to, Borderlands Starter Set. Thank you very much, Matt. Matty O'Rourke. Yes, that is the one it comes from. Who else we got here? Making a bit of chat and stuff. I'll catch up with the chat stuff in a bit. Scott saying he likes to look at their models. Peter says probably not picking up the new one right away. I have an entire old Marine army. Okay, mate. Tony says they're lovely minis. Yeah, I mean, I must admit, mate, like I say, I was kind of torn about this game before I actually got a chance to play it. But I have to admit, I'm hugely impressed. I now own everything for this game, and I have the two new the warbands that are on pre-order at the minute. I have them on their way too. So all is good in the hood, as they say. So I'm going to start painting this one. Taliesin says those minis look damn nice. Thank you for joining the chat, by the way. They are nice, mate. They are from Godtear, which is a new or relatively new kind of combat skirmish board game from Steamforged. Outside Dice Podcast, hello. He says he's going. I hope everyone's well. Wonder what the random topic will be. Looks like favourite dessert at the moment. Not for me, mate. I'm going to try and avoid desserts. I've not had a dessert in since last month basically. I'm sticking on my health kick at the minute. Kodastic Henker, hello, welcome to the chat. Potentially the first time you've been here. Thank you very much for joining us. Palms is saying, will this Godtear end up on Element Games and all that? Will it end up on Element Games and all that eventually? I think it's already on Element Games, mate. I think you can buy it from there. It's available for retail. It has been since about November, December last year. So it's not like sort of brand new. It's just brand new to me because I've never played it before. So I'm kind of winging this tonight, if I'm perfectly honest. I've got a bit of a kind of a paint scheme in mind, but I've been too busy today to do a kind of a test model. So what you're seeing is me painting and kind of testing out some schemes as we go as well. So we'll get these on screen here. Tellison was just saying, just looking for another skirmish. We'll check them out. Glad to see you're doing well. Thank you very much. I just did a review of this game on, was it Friday last week? So if you are interested in these particular minis and you want to know a little bit more about the game, I did a full review kind of showing how the game plays, and something that I think not everybody is aware of, even though it was kind of talked about as part of the Kickstarter and stuff as well, is that whilst this game can be a kind of like a tournament game and stuff, and I'm sure there will be and has been tournaments for this game, there is a really, really good narrative campaign as well that comes with this. It's free on the Steamforged website. If you were lucky enough to pick up the Kickstarter, I think you basically got a printed out version of it that was sent to you. But all of the cards and the rules and everything for the campaign are all available on the Steamforged website. So it's even if you just want to play it as a bit of a narrative board game, there's some really nice little ways that all of the different the battles link together. And the kind of the chapter cards for the campaign have numbers at the bottom. So the winner kind of goes to a different chapter card, the loser goes to a different chapter card, and it's really, really interesting. And I also like the fact that when they do run tournaments, they are essentially doing like I can't remember how you phrase it now. I mentioned it in the video. Not like a ban list. They're not banning things. As for example, it's like you can still play with all your stuff. But there will be rotation. So basically, different characters will get rotated in and out. So if one is doing sort of particularly well and it needs a little bit of tweaking, they will rotate it out for a period of time, and then rotate it back in later. And what this will do is it'll keep the meta sort of shifting and changing. Also, what's interesting is because it is, you can basically use any faction you like. So basically, you just pick any three champions, put them together with their followers. That's the warband that you'll be using in the game, and because of that, it means anything that gets released for the game is open to everybody. So it's not a case of like, oh, I'm sick to death of this one particular faction getting all of the units. When's my faction going to get some stuff? Whenever anything new comes out, you can pick it up. Anybody that's basically playing the game can pick them up. Let me just... Tony saying, told the missus about a new Mantic naval game. She said that won't be one you want then. Me. Well, yes, mate. I've been kind of sitting on a lot of that information for a few weeks now, so I've done well to keep my mouth shut on that one. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about it as well, mate. The ships themselves look absolutely fantastic. I'm really impressed with the quality of them. They are obviously resin, Mantic's resin. I mean, some of the older Mantic plastics and stuff doesn't have the best reputation, but the new resin stuff, Kirsten over in the resin room there really does know what she's doing, and I am hugely excited to get some of those soon. Mantic said that they're going to send me out like a review copy to have a look at. So yeah, I'll be getting my hands on that very soon. And as soon as I can show you more stuff, I will show you more stuff. So who knows, if it comes quick enough, we might even have a little chat about it next Monday. So let's see how that goes. All right, I'm just using, actually, folks, just I didn't mention, I'm using this. I got this paint ages ago in like a kind of like a you know, them like random loot box things. This is Foundry paint, and it is basically gunmetal. I'm just trying it out. I've never used it before, so I'm just giving that a little go. Mike says I have the beta kit. Godtear plays really well. Some do not care for Sneaky and Mournblade. Yeah, I'm sure there's some weird combinations and stuff, and people will have certain ones that they like. But to be honest, I'm just going to play the ones I like the look of. I'm sure over time I'll find ones that kind of synergize well with the way I like to play. But in the short term, mate, it will just be which one looks cool, basically. And the problem I've got now is because obviously, you know, like I do, I kind of dive in with both feet. I've now got everything available for it. I bought some parts of somebody's Kickstarter to fill out the bits I didn't have. So I got like the neoprene mat and the campaign stuff, and I got all the war bands. So yeah, it's just start. I didn't want to paint them before I'd done the review. And then now I got the review out the way, I can start kind of painting these up now. So, Pomsy said, "Oh, I just went to the Kickstarter earlier and it went to the link on there. I thought it was newer." No, mate, it's yeah. I mean, obviously the Kickstarter link is still up there, but it's been in the shops for probably about 6 months now, 7 months. So yeah, it is available to purchase. Now, these different warbands are basically there are 4 different types of champions, as I mentioned in my video. There are Guardians, there are Maelstroms, there are Slayers, and there are Shapers. And they are each are kind of linked to a different colour. So what you'll notice is where obviously I've painted these plastics. These ones are the blue champions. There's blues, yellows, reds, and greens. So I'm going to try and kind of paint them with the colour of their kind of their character class, if you like, as the main colour. So I'll be painting sort of these will have a blue theme to them. And I'm just trying to kind of balance out which bits I'm doing blue, which bits I'm going to do different colours. And I think what we'll do is... how would I do it? I think I'm actually going to do this little portion here down the front. Oops, let's get it on camera. We'll do this portion down the front here. We'll do that blue. I think I'm going to try and do this kind of white around the top. Maybe blue shoulder pads there. And the same on the back as well. So that basically these robes coming down here will be white, and we'll have some kind of blues dotted about. So blue will kind of be the main spot colour, but it won't kind of overpower the miniature. Arnold saying, focus. There's nothing wrong with the focus, mate. It's me moving stuff about. That's what it is. Luke says, is there a faction that you like the style of most at the moment? To be honest, mate, I'm playing so many kind of sort of mixtures of different stuff. I haven't really played enough of one at the minute. Because I've got loads of new toys, I'm trying to play everything. So I haven't really played one at the minute to get it. When I played the most games, obviously before I got looking for a brush. Before I got the extra stuff, I was playing with essentially with the 2 starter warbands from one starter set, the 2 starter warbands from another set, and then I've also got Kira, which is the kind of the Princess of Dragons, and I've also got BlackJack as well. BlackJack. So I was playing with like those 6 at a time. So I was playing with Finvarr. Who's the other one? Finvarr. I forget what he's called now. I forget the name, mate. My brain's puzzled today. I'll tell you why my brain's puzzled today in a minute. But I'm enjoying them, mate, anyway. I'm enjoying them. So, the reason my head's a shed today. So yesterday I started recording, yesterday afternoon. I had a couple of hours, 2 hours I think it was, before I had to go and pick up my little one from nursery. So I decided, I've got time to film my next video. So I got everything set up. I filmed everything, got it all done, picked them up, sat last night to start editing it, and then realised about halfway through the video, the camera that was above me, kind of filming the board state, if you like, went completely out of focus. So I thought, all right, no worries, we'll work around it. I can record that middle section again tomorrow, like this morning. I can record that middle section again, piece it in. It won't be the kind of end of the world. Except I'd recorded the video, got a shower, had a shave, and then went to pick my little one up. So what it meant was if I tried to piece that middle bit in, my beard would have been long at the start, short in the middle, and long again at the end. So I just thought, oh, bugger, bollocks to it. I'm just going to re-record the whole thing. So today I re-recorded the entire video, edited the whole thing again, picked the little one up from nursery. I've been kind of running around in circles, mate. And I've literally not stopped since about 7 o'clock this morning. So, yeah, it's been fun and games, mate. It's been a busy day. Scott says, where was that one? Scott said, is it playable solo? This particular game, mate, isn't. No, it's a 2-player game. And unfortunately, with more lockdown restrictions on the way by the looks of it, luckily my wife's been playing this with me as well, so at least it means I won't completely dry up of getting some games in if I can't get anybody to play against. However, tomorrow's video, I think it's tomorrow's. It's scheduled for tomorrow, but depending upon how much I get recorded tomorrow, I might switch them around. So either tomorrow's or Friday's video, I've done how to play, how to set the game up, how to play, and a review of Escape the Dark Sector by Themeborn. You might know the Escape the Dark Castle, which was their first game. They sent me out a review copy of that. So the video goes up tomorrow. And that is playable solo. So that might be something you might be interested in, mate. It's a bit of a card and dice kind of narrative, fighting fantasy type story game. But yeah, it's pretty cool. So we'll get this paint into here. Try and remember to keep it on camera as well while I'm doing it. I'm trying to kind of do a decent job on these, really, if I can. Try to do something a little bit, sort of up my game a little bit for these. Because, there's not that many minis in a warband. There's like 4 minis in this warband. So I'm going to try and just kind of up my game a little bit. Do a bit of a better job of it. I'm trying to decide where to put that blue on here. This is what happens when you start winging it on the fly. It's alright when you're just sitting at home on your own and you can just sit there and ponder it. It's different when I've got people sitting and watching. You actually want to see me do something. You don't want me to you don't want me to sit here and just overanalyze it, do you? Tim said he needs more swords. Yeah, he's a bit short on the swords, mate, I think. Welsh Wanderer says, day one of building a Tornado. F3 ADV cockpit and crew. Put the chieftain on the back burner to work out how to paint it with it all stuck together. I always stick things together, mate, before I paint it. I saw that you'd said that you were going to paint it like in sub-assemblies and stuff. But yeah, I always paint it as one big block. I just find it easier personally, but it depends on what you're trying to do and stuff. And if you haven't got an airbrush is fantastic for tanks and stuff. So if you haven't got an airbrush, oops, sorry, if I'm not the microphone there. Yeah, maybe it is better painting in kind of sub-assemblies at that point. So just getting this, I think it's Sortec green, I think I've put on there as the base colour, and we'll be highlighting this one up as well. So try and just get the base colours down. I think we'll give them blue shoulder pads as well, introduce a bit more colour, just some kind of spot colours. Whoops, I am going to keep knocking that microphone with my end of my brush. Luke's saying there's a great module on Tabletop Simulator for this if you fancy trying it in advance too. There is, mate. I prefer the one that's on Tabletopia. The one on Tabletopia uses 3D models of these, and it is fully supported as well by Steamforged. I think they created it so that the guys from their place could continue to play test through lockdown. So the Tabletopia version, if you don't have Tabletop Simulator as well, Tabletopia is free. And I just think it's a bit less clunky. I'm not a huge fan of Tabletop Simulator, if I'm perfectly honest. It's okay for certain games. It'll probably be alright for this one because there's not too many moving parts. But I must admit, I find Tabletop Simulator just a little bit... It always feels a little bit homemade. Tabletopia feels a little bit more kind of professional, if you like, if that's even the right word. Let's just get in here a little bit. Getting that still apart. Start to get a bit of colour onto there. Not too shabby. 6 and a head saying, damn, £36 for the Godtear starter. That's more than tempting. I tell you what, mate. It's £40 recommended retail price, but look around. There are people kind of selling Kickstarter versions and stuff like that. You can pick it up if you look around. I've seen that the starter set's available for about 25 quid, if you don't mind a kind of a second-hand version. That's so yeah, it's even cheaper if you look about, mate. I'll tell you what we'll do. We're going to give him a blue mask as well. He's feeling very COVID safe here with a blue mask on. So we'll just get that in there. Just the lower half of his face with a kind of a face mask on, like some kind of ninja warrior there. And I think what we'll do is he's got like some kind of like padding on his stomach here. I think we'll paint that blue as well. I think we'll try and keep the amount of colours we're using relatively small and focused. And we'll keep it as a nice centre point. I like the shape of this model. I mean, because I've got the blue on the shoulders there, the blue down the centre, it kind of almost gives that focal point to it, which is why I'm painting these first, really, so I can try and work from that. I'm by no means an expert with kind of colour theory and any of that kind of stuff, but I do know that sort of triangular shapes, when you're painting them, really do kind of draw the eye. So it's kind of nice to have those. What do I want to do with that sleeve? I think we'll probably do that sleeve kind of. One looks like chainmail on here, and the other one looks a bit more like cloth. So I think what we'll do is we'll do the cloth sleeve the same colour as his trousers, and we'll just layer this up a little bit more. It's a little bit light in the back there. So, folks, what are you all up to? Has anybody been playing any games lately? Peter says, am I right in thinking the Godtear champions are larger scale than the minions? They are, mate. Yeah, let me just put two side by side there for you. So there's the champion, and there is basically the follower. The idea of the game is essentially that the gods have died. They've been destroyed, and they basically shatter into like millions of pieces. And these meteorites kind of basically come down and hit the world. And they're basically kind of god tiers, these things that hit the ground. They're basically, if anybody goes near them, they pretty much just burn up, and the person is killed. However, there are certain kind of mortals in the world who can withstand the power of these god tiers, and every time they absorb one, they become a little bit stronger each time, and basically become kind of like ascend as these kind of gods on earth type thing, which is the reason why the champions, who are the people that can withstand Godtears, that's why they're basically bigger than normal humans or like normal other characters. So there's a bit of a backstory as to why. The other side of it is, from a gameplay perspective, it makes it really easy to kind of see which ones they are. And it also kind of allows for some very, very nice sculpts and some nice minis as well. They really do have some nice detail to them as well for painting up. So, right, I think we're going to come in and we'll come in with the grey now. Pomsy saying, element 3 left of each starter, leave one for me, Scott Longworth. Yes, if you are buying them on Element, my affiliate link still works, to be fair. So Mike's saying champ set are much bigger, like 10 times bigger. They're not exactly 10 times bigger, mate, but they are 10 times bigger when it comes to certain ones, because some of them don't have like full like kind of like human follower type things. They have tiny little kind of grots and stuff. Marcus is saying, I play cooperative super. Whoops, where was that one gone? I'll find that one. I'll come back somewhere. He says, I play a cooperative superhero card game called Sentinels of the Multiverse. I've heard of that, mate, yeah. It has a rule where a hero is KO'd during a game. You can't use that hero in the next game. They're in recovery, so it makes you rotate your characters. So I like that Godtear has a similar thing going on for the game overall. Yeah, so basically you basically can't kill a champion in the game. You can knock them out and they get knocked down, but basically they can kind of like they can kind of heal up, they can recover, but you have that takes an action to bring them back. So what it means is that basically you never get kind of steamrolled in this game. You're never like overpowered to the point where all of your models have been killed or anything like that, which I quite like. It means that you're always in the fight. And because of the way the game works, and you win points for each turn of the game, if you like, it means that if you lose a round, it's not kind of game over. You just try and win the next round. And there's some really nice mechanics in it. I honestly think Steamforged have learned quite a lot from Guild Ball and all of the things we talk about when we talk about competitive gaming, and they've put a lot of things in place so that essentially the game doesn't get out of control from a competitive aspect. Basically, there's lots of things that make mitigating factors in there. That if you're losing, you get a bit of a kind of a leg up to you get a slight advantage in the next round, for example. There's just some nice little mechanics in that. I really like it, and then obviously combined with the fact that they're really pushing a narrative side of it as well, along with rotations for competitive stuff. I just think they've got a really good handle on it, and long may it continue. So, Daniel Engel, good evening to you, mate. Mike's saying minions are like 28 mil standard, usually 3 or 6 per champion. Yeah, average champion stands about 15 centimeters. I'm not sure it's quite 15 centimeters, is it? That sounds pretty big, 15 centimeters. I don't think those are like sort of 6 inches tall. Titus, he's the other one, mate, that I was playing. I was playing Finvarr, Titus, and Kira. That was the 3 I've been playing, mate. Thank you. Andrew says, forgot you said solo play or not. If no, it's simple enough to do solo. I mean, you could play both sides. However, there's quite a lot of tactics to the game, if you like. So if you end up playing both sides, you're kind of going to be second guessing yourself, I suppose. But it is a dice game, so there are like elements of you can still sort of roll the dice, and it will give you some different outcomes. But yeah, it plays solo in as much as something like 40k plays solo kind of thing, or Warhammer Underworlds plays solo. I'm going to be doing a review at some point in the future, kind of comparing a lot of these kind of hex-based kind of like combat games, because I think between things like Riot Quest, Aristea, Super Fantasy Brawl, Godtear as well, I think there's others as well, but I'm not as familiar with them. Between them all, Warhammer Underworlds that I mentioned. There is some obvious visual similarities. As soon as you put a hex-based board on down, everybody says, "Oh, it's just like this," or "It's just like that." So there are some similarities visually, but actually, when it comes to gameplay, they're all very, very different. So yeah, I'm gonna at some point do a video, kind of showing the similarities, showing the differences, and basically recommending the one that I prefer from them. I'm sure you can guess which one I'm probably gonna say that I prefer at this stage, but it's horses for courses basically. There's different reasons why you might prefer Aristea, why you might prefer Warhammer Underworlds. So it's not kind of like it's not like a biased opinion. It's biased in the terms of it's my opinion, but it's not like I will give kind of an overall opinion really, depending upon what kind of play style you prefer. Andrew said you could have just mentioned you have a beard problem. It was pretty severe, mate. I know for a fact that I would have had more comments on the video about wow, your beard shrunk and then it grew again in the middle in this video. I'd have had more comments about that than I would have done about the actual video itself. And I wanted to do a good job of it, so I re-recorded the whole thing this morning. So in one respect, it was a pain in the backside, and I've been rushing around like a headless chicken today. On the other side, I could put yesterday down to a nice dry run, and it went really smoothly this morning. So there you go. Right. Just get into there and get a little bit on the collar there, on the back of the hood. So I'm just putting some Ulthwan Grey onto this basically. It's always a nice base to highlight white up from. So we'll put some Ulthwan Grey on there. Anna saying, I wish you had mentioned the colours before I started putting some green on Finvarr. It doesn't really matter, to be fair, Anna. It's like you can paint them any colour you want. Because all of the rules about like the different champion abilities and stuff are all on the cards anyway, so it's not like you need to remember what colour they are. It's more just for something for me to do. Actually, it's just to so it's very. And also, I think when I start filming some kind of like battle report type things or gameplay, so that it's easy for viewers as well to kind of see which model it is or which kind of character class they are. So that's why I'm doing it that way, really. Right, that's that one. I think we'll come in with a little bit of a darker grey there to put into the trousers. In fact, I think we'll use a little bit of contrast on the trousers. I quite like the way the Basilican Grey always seems to go on well. David says only true fans can see if Andy's had a shower or not. Scott's saying they look very Assassin's Creed. Yeah, they've got that feel about them, haven't they? Mortis in power to the weirdos. I hate Tabletop Simulator, says Andrew Fairbanks. I never resist the urge to flip the table. Yes, I don't think there's a flip the table in Tabletopia. Luke saying, yeah, Tabletop Simulator module is the same one by Steamforged with full 3D minis. Are you sure, mate? I was sure that the one in Tabletop Simulator was just tokens, mate. Unless it's been changed recently. But Steamforged are essentially just, as far as I'm aware, they're only really supporting the Tabletopia one, unless it's something I'm not aware of. So he's got some kind of some trousers on here, which I'm coming in with the Basilican Grey contrast, just to kind of paint them in. I basically just what's it called, like Zenithal primed these earlier today, just to kind of give me a bit of a base coating in. So while the video was rendering, I ran upstairs and put the black primer on these. And then basically once, after I'd picked the little one up from nursery today, once my wife had finished work, I ran back upstairs and put the white primer on. So it's been a bit of a busy one today. I think we'll come in with grey at the minute, just to see how that looks for the scabbards on the swords. And across here as well. We can always change that if I'm not happy with that later. James Orm, good evening, mate. He says, killing the last few minutes of work. Hopefully time for some progress progress, I should say, on Ultramarines later. Nice one, fella. Ian says, yeah, always I'm wrapping up work for these streams. Gets me pumped for hobby time later, though. I'm glad it gives you a bit of a motivation kick, mate. That's the whole point of these hobby streams, really. It was to, like, I'm going to be sitting painting stuff anyway. Like, I paint stuff for videos and I paint stuff so I can play stuff myself. So I'm going to be sitting painting anyway. So, like, if I'm going to be sitting painting, I might as well put the camera on and try and motivate a few of you to pick up brushes as well. That was always the intention of these streams. They're just a community thing, really. It's not the kind of thing that a lot of people are going to get excited about. So, Andrew's nearly done with his Great Unclean one. We'll probably finish it up tonight after the kids are down. Or take us in better be heading off. See you in the rerun, and I'll post up my work in progress. Thank you very much, mate. Scotty and I lost my gaming and painting mojo of late. Let me just find out where that was again. Yeah, I think we all go through it, mate, to be fair. I did a video a little while ago, a couple of weeks back, about sort of 10 ways to get out of a hobby slump. Because the thing is that, like, we all go through it. Like every single one of us at some point gets a bit, like, kind of down in the dumps and a bit burned out and that kind of stuff. We all go through it, mate. So there were just a few kind of little tips just to try and give you a nudge, try something different. Mike H says, this Kickstarter was 6 months late. Warcry kind of stole its thunder. It came a little... I don't even think Warcry stole its thunder so much, mate. I think it was more of a case of Steamforged were just a little bit quiet about it, if I'm perfectly honest. And it did make me think that actually maybe the game's not all that good. Maybe they're keeping it quiet because they're getting a bit of flack about it and just hoping people just pick it up off their own back kind of thing. And that was honestly my gut feel at first. Thankfully, I was completely wrong, and it turned out to be an absolute cracker of a game. So there's lots that I love about it. I mean, just the fact that I don't have to build the minis. You know how much I hate building miniatures for a start. That is, like, it's a big plus point for me to be able to just buy a new warband and be able to play it. The coloured plastics are, even if you don't like painting, like if you just want to kind of just rock out a board game, have like a board game feel about it. The minis are great. They're really nice quality, and whilst, like, obviously I do like painting, if it's not your kind of thing, you shouldn't feel like you have to with these stuff. And obviously there being different coloured plastic, depending upon the different warbands, it kind of just makes you be able to spot them on the tabletop that little bit more easily as well. Hal says the core sets champions for Godtear are pretty much the worst for East faction. The expansion boxes champs are far superior. When you say the worst, mate, do you mean like gameplay wise? Because I assume what they've done is they've kind of stuck with some of the more simple mechanics, if you like, and there might be a bit more flavour in them. But I wouldn't say they're the worst. I mean, I like them. They've got a lot of flavour in them. If we're talking about purely from a competitive point of view, it doesn't really... It never really floats my boat. I never really get that far with it, to be fair, to start looking at it from competitive side of things. Right, where are we at now? What we're going to do with this? Just deciding where to go, because at some point I'm going to put some kind of a wash over it, just to kind of... I don't want them to look kind of like they've just stepped out of a new... they've just been shopping for new uniforms kind of thing. I want them to look a little bit battle hardened, so I'm going to wash some of it down a little bit at some point. Black for the boots, I think. David said no games this week yet. He's working miniatures for Oathmark, Frostgrave and Ragnarok. If he's lucky, we'll have a family game of tanks. Nice. Marcus has finished GM in his 1950s sci-fi game. Last I was surprised no character dies. One nearly got his arm right off. Another one has come back, but no deaths. Nice one. Jason, late at the party. Good evening, mate. He was waiting all day to see how you're going to paint these Godtear minis. Do you know what, mate? I'm still kind of wondering that myself, really. Like, I don't. Like, obviously, you missed the start bit, but I'm kind of winging it a little bit. I haven't had time today, which was I planned to maybe have a little bit of a test paint job on these. So I'm kind of winging it. But at the end of the day, as long as they're painted, that's all I'm really looking for out of this. They're not going to be anything too fancy to write home about. Those weapons, do I paint them silver? Yeah, I think I probably should. Let's get some silver on those. Scott saying, I like Rangosh. Yeah, nice model, that one, mate. Really is nice. Luke's has played a game of Among Us last night on Steam. Absolutely hilarious. You play astronauts fixing your ship and some traitors going around trying to sabotage and kill people. It's fabulous. I saw on your Facebook page, mate, you said you've been playing something last night. Nice one. Pomsy says they get knocked down, but they get up again. They do, mate. Ain't never going to keep them down, as they say. I'll tell you what, I'm not a huge fan of this Foundry silver, to be fair. It's a bit, I've thinned it a touch, but it's kind of watery to start with, I think. So put that on there, just get a bit more of that. Right. And I think I forgot to do that little piece of our contrast. Joachim's got a game of Brothers and Badgers every weekend with his brother. Sorry I keep getting my face on the screen there, folks, when I'm leaning forward. I just caught it out of the corner of my eye there. Says, so maybe we can start a campaign soon. Nice one. Joachim's saying he's getting Luke's saying it's £4 on Steam, bargain. Hidden Traitor board game on the PC. Frantic says, I read a review that someone as a wargamer could not get to like the game because no one really died. You struggle to kill a hero and next turn he's back. The problem is, mate, it's not like really, it's not a wargamer type thing. It's a skirmish board game, really, and it's not always about killing stuff. Like you get, it's about victory points. The winner isn't the person that kills the most stuff. The winner is the person that scores the most victory points, and you get victory points by winning rounds, and you win rounds by knocking down champions, by knocking out followers, by placing your banners, and by defending your banners. So the fact that they get back up and come back and fight, I mean, these are gods basically, or kind of gods in the making. So of course they're going to basically come back. I like that aspect to it. I think it just adds a little bit of something. So like Slayers basically, that their main kind of method of kind of playing and scoring points, and they get an extra bonus point, is for taking out enemy champions basically. That's their strong point. So yeah, I just think it's just a good game, mate, if I'm honest. Right, I think we're going to let that dry a little bit, and we'll come on and do another one while it's drying. So I'm going to put a wash over the top once that's dried out a little bit, just to pull it all together. Peter saying, thanks for the explanation. Could really make out the scale difference on your review video. Or couldn't, sorry. Kills cross compatibility for us. Miniature kills cross compatibility. Yeah, it's a board game. Yeah, using them elsewhere doesn't even enter my mind, if I'm honest. Scott's saying, I love playing tanks. Andrew's saying, feel the size difference is important in a good way. Keeps the world's flavour. These dudes are... Where was that one? Are collecting the power of the gods. Yeah. Peter says, one you prefer is it Dreadfleet? You know what it is? I've got Dreadfleet, mate, and I've never ever played it. I think it was basically killed for me before I even sort of got it to the table. Everybody just jumping on the back of it. Nobody wanted to play it. So yeah, I never did even get it to the table, I don't think. But recently I went back and built the actual ships, and I did have the intention of painting them up as well, but you know how it is. There's 25 million other things that need doing as well, so yeah, they ain't got any paint on them yet. So Jacob says, my sword on Finvarr is a little bendy looking. Any way to fix that? There is, mate. Just pop it in hot water, or use a hairdryer to heat it up. Just bend it back into shape, basically, and then dunk it either in cold water or just blow on it to cool it down. Just like you do with resin, basically, mate. Just warm it up. I had the same thing with mine as well, but I managed to. You can see here. I mean, it's kind of curved back. That's the shape of the sword. But I managed to straighten the sword up. and also the model I've just been painting, this kind of thing that was in his hand here, that was a little bit kind of twisted as well, just the way it had been put in the box, I think, when it was made. But yeah, a bit of hot water, mate, or a hairdryer, just softens up the plastic, and then you can just bend it into shape. And then when it's in the right place, just cool it down quickly. That's the way to fix those, buddy. Hal says, if you have an issue remembering the factions, just paint the rims of the bases to match the faction colour. I would do, Hal, except I've also got the base rings as well, mate, to go on them, which then covers that up, to be fair. So I was going to do that, but when I put the base rings on, it's you lose that thing. So that's the reason I'm kind of trying to stick to the colours, basically. Just it's something nice for me to do as well, really. Just I think it just gives it a little bit of a different look. But I have seen some really nice paint jobs of these minis, to be fair. The ones that Steamforged show off, I think, is it Rough Rider minis? I think that's who's painting up the like the official ones, and he's a hell of a painter. He's been doing some really good stuff. I've been quite impressed with the stuff he's painted up for the game. So yeah, I've seen some, and Anna was saying there she's been breaking out the green on her Finvarr. I think the official scheme is kind of green and yellow as well, to be fair. So yeah, it'll look awesome, Anna. It'll look awesome. So that's getting that bit of blue colour into there. I think we might use a bit of brown on the strapping on this one. I think we've got some do his face mask as well while I'm on. Can get that in there. So I keep making sure I've still got it on camera as well. Peter says this Godtear game resembles the old Magic board game a bit, in my opinion. Arena of the Planeswalkers, it was called, had an expansion called Battle for Zendikar. I've heard of the game, mate, but I've got no idea how the game played. But if it's anything like this one, mate, must have been a good game. Hal says, yeah, it's close to a chess style game rather than a skirmish. The push-pull mechanics and placement is big. It is big, mate, but then there's some quite sort of spiky dice rolls as well. There's the opportunity you can get in the right place, but then if the dice don't go your way, you have to kind of you have to try and mitigate the dice as well by sort of putting your boons and blights out there and trying to combat it that way. I'm just really happy with the game, mate. It was a complete surprise to me. A little bit in the same way that Warcry kind of took me by surprise. I wasn't expecting to like that either, and it turned out that I absolutely loved it. So yeah, never judge a book by its cover, or never judge it by how quiet it is online about it. Steve Evans, good evening, mate. How you doing? Lucian has definitely got the 3D minis. I think it must have changed, mate. It certainly didn't at first. Adam Edgar, good morning, mate. I hope you're feeling okay. I hope you're on the mend. Peter Cooman says, I'm at 526 models painted this year. Mojo is still strong. I don't think I've painted 526 models in my life, mate. I don't get the enjoyment from painting to that level. Goal for the year is 600. David says, looks like Steamforged are getting serious with Godtear. They sent it over to the lads at Skirmish and Miniature Gaming. Good stuff. I'm glad to see they're pushing it out there. I'm glad to see they're pushing it out. Obviously, they've taken a bit of a kicking over the Guild Ball stuff at the minute, and obviously people are sort of having a bit of a rant about that at the moment. But yeah, it doesn't affect Godtear or what I think about the game or any of that kind of stuff. So everybody can have their opinions on that stuff. Yeah, so the Mantic stuff as well. I'm looking forward to seeing those minis when they arrive. They looked absolutely brilliant in the photographs. I was really sort of happy they looked as good as I hoped they would. And yeah, I should be getting my my demo and review set pretty soon. So I look forward to being able to share that with you. Scott said I would paint the weapons on him brass. Are you talking about on Rango, mate? Or are you talking about on this one? I'm just keeping a very kind of cool colour palette on this one, kind of silvers, whites, and blues. So, Marcus has said, does everyone know where to get a tiny LED light? I'm going to wire up my Terrorgeist skull inside about 1.5 by 3.75. Have you tried? You know the ones that you get inside, what they're called? You know, the little kind of candlelight, the tea light things. Have you tried taking one of those out? Because like the actual little LED is inside that kind of like that moulded bit. That might be the cheapest way to get it. You can get like 10 of those tea lights or something for £1 from like kind of pound stores or dollar stores. That might be the easiest way to get them made. And see how that looks. Otherwise, you have to go to like a proper like component type. Like we have a place called like RS Components in the UK, where I used to buy a lot of electrical stuff when I was a Sparky. So you might have to do that kind of stuff. That's a bit of cloak down there. So that's that. Scott says, which starter are those miniatures from? These ones are from the Borderlands set, mate. It's Borderlands. The other one is the Eternal Glade, and it has Morrigan and Nia in the other one, which are also nice models. But yeah, these ones are from the Borderlands set. Steve says, looking forward to getting mine on the painting table, hopefully sometime next week. Nice one. Deb's with saying hello. Nice to see you in, Deb. I just watched your I Am a War Gamer or sort of video tonight. Very well done, and thank you for taking part in it. It was really cool to hear your story. Adam says still pretty crap, but wasn't able to get back to sleep, so thought I'd join in the chat. The last couple of days has been horrendous. I can imagine, mate. It must be really kind of sore after that operation, mate. Getting your tonsils scraped like that. Where was I up to? What was I going to do? Alan Moore, nice to see you in, mate. How are you doing, fella? I hear you're into Godtear now as well, mate. Good to see. Scott's saying the last one you painted. The brass. Are you talking about the brass bits on the bottom, mate? Yeah, I might change them up at some point, to be fair. Peter says, believe me, Andy, painting is a necessary evil for me. I just pushed through because I wanted to play 6,223 models painted in my collection. I'll tell you what, I would never have a collection that big, personally, because I just know for a fact they'll just get chucked in a box and get put out the way and never see the light of day again. Be different. Like, are you putting them like on display or something, mate? Have you got like shelves or something in a room somewhere, or are they all just boxed up, not even like really kind of seeing anything? For me personally, it would drive me insane having that much stuff and that not getting used. But if you're a painter, I suppose it might be a different ball game. No wonder you're always looking for different ways to use the minis that you've already got when you've got that kind of amount. For me, it's not really an issue because I don't have that many. So put that into there, and I'll put this on here. I'll probably change these scabbards, probably the colour of those at some point. But for now, they can be this colour. There we go. I'll come in with a bit of cloth on that one as well. Tony says, Green Stuff World make LEDs down to 1 mil. There you go, I knew somebody would know. Daniel says, Godtear starters are $30 US on Amazon. Yeah, they're good price, mate, honestly. They're a good price. For all I've gone balls deep and bought everything. You can just buy a starter set and play a one champion versus one champion and have a really fun kind of just like a board game type experience. Really, like you don't have to kind of to go like overboard and buy everything. However, I would say is once you start getting up to 3 champions per side, it's a very different kind of gameplay experience. But in a, like beneficially wise, there's just so much more depth to it and sort of tactics, because there's a lot more stuff happening on the board. There's a lot more interaction between the different abilities and stuff. It's just a lot of fun. Deb saying, thanks for the nomination. Really enjoyed making the video. I'm glad you enjoyed it. David says, Godtear starters are between 67 and 72 on Amazon Canada. I've got no idea about exchange rates, mate. Whether that's cheap, whether it's expensive. I don't know how many Canadian dollars there are to a pound or to an American dollar. So I've got no idea whether they're expensive or not, mate. Like when everybody always says about how expensive GW stuff is in Australia, and they start talking about like $500 or $600 for stuff. Like I know it's not like, I know it's expensive. I know it sounds like a lot to us when we're talking in pounds, but then I also know on top of that is that basically like it's not a straight direct sort of like what's the word, like it's not a direct translation of what the FX is at the minute, what the exchange rates are. I know for a fact they get screwed over, but it's just the fact it's like when Joachim's talking about Swedish krona as well. I think like that always sounds like a lot of money, but it's just a different exchange rate. Tony says you'll need to buy a Switch to. Oh yeah, talk about that. Alan says just acquired 2 starters and 6 extra warbands for Godtear. All your fault, Andy. Thank you very much, mate. Thank you for blaming me. No, you'll enjoy the game, mate. You will enjoy it. It's good fun, mate. And once the world gets back to normal, mate, no doubt I'll be able to get down there and get some games with you and Anna as well. And we'll get a few videos made and that kind of stuff. Get some Warcry done, and get some Godtear done as well. Unfortunately, that date seems to be getting further and further away, not closer and closer. But we'll get there. We will get there one day. Alright, just coming in and painting around on his kind of his cowl around his face here. Just printing on that. Peter says all boxed up in the spare room, all have been played with except for the stuff that's been finished during lockdown. Wow, mate, you must really enjoy it. That's all I can say. I just physically couldn't bring myself to paint that much stuff, I think. And once it started to kind of once it got to the point where it had been painted and then it just gets put away, I would have to start selling some of it, mate, I think, if it was me. That's just me. I don't think I'd want to just like sit on stuff in boxes. My missus would. I already take up a spare room doing all of this stuff. I don't need to take up more space as well. Storage is always an issue for me anyway, and that's with like a minimal amount of stuff. So at the minute I've got a load of stuff on shelves in a garage now, tucked away. Stuff that I won't see the table very often. Adamson, yeah, I'm getting through the worst of it now. Apparently a couple more days feeling like this and then sharply improves. I can imagine it'll get to a point where it'll just start to heal, mate, yeah. Peter saying I just searched Amazon for Godtear and found goat lords. David saying $30 exchanges to $40 Canada. Yeah, that is expensive then, mate, in that case. That sounds like it's more expensive than retail price then, at that. Adam says we call that the convict tax over here. Alan says first game on Saturday against Anna. Looking forward to meet up, buddy, and get some dice rolled. Yeah, 100%, mate. Me too. It was nice to meet the two of you down at Warhammer World, and obviously we've all chatted like since then and stuff. Obviously Anna being part of the Patreon as well, we chat like most days in there, and being part of the D&D campaign was good fun as well. I'd love to come and kind of like hang out and play like a load of games one day. Hopefully we get the chance to. VJ, good morning, mate. How are you doing? Marcus says, any you talk about how fun Warcry is once I finish up my Flesh Eater court models. I plan on giving it a try. Yeah, mate, honestly, like, Warcry is still like one of my sort of my favourite games. And when I say one of my favourite games, it's like one of my favourite games ever. Like of all the different games I've played. Like I was a huge fan of Malifaux, like back in first edition, and then I kind of drifted away. So I like Malifaux always has a bit of a soft spot in my heart, really. But um, I will go back and give third edition a try at some point. But I'm not in any major rush, if you know what I mean. Where like Warcry, I just love the game. I just love the fact it's just so straightforward. I don't have to think about it. If I haven't played it for a little while, I haven't got to try and like rack my brains on how to like remember the rules. I just dive straight back into enjoying it. It's a fab game, and I get a lot of them same vibes about Godtear as well. Like that's kind of one of the reasons. It's just that the rules are super straightforward. There's loads of depth in it, the same as Warcry. There's loads. It's all about tactics. It's not about just killing people. Like it's about like sort of building up tactics and about sort of taking your opportunities. It's about playing the scenario, trying to score the points. I just think I've found those kind of games that I really enjoy. I've tried other games in the past to try like to kind of because I love playing games. I love rolling dice, but there's just too many games where I think if I don't play this for a week or two, I'd have forgotten like 90% of the rules. And unfortunately, there are a lot of games like that. Right, let's get around here and have to keep remembering that got it on camera there as well. Does the microphone sound any better tonight, folks, versus Monday? I've had a few problems with the microphone. I'm considering buying a new one at the moment because it works fine when it's plugged straight into my recording system for doing like kind of just like pre-recorded videos. When it comes to live stream stuff, it seems to either pick up some kind of like electronic noise, like from the computer or something. Maybe I don't know whether to invest in some better like audio equipment for the PC, like is a what's it called, like a mixing desk type thing, or whether to just buy a better quality mic, and try that. Peter saying he sold a lot over the years as well. Yeah, I'm not surprised, mate. Regis and his wife would kill him if he took any more space. Yeah, mine too, mate. Regis built his elven team for Blitzball. Nice one, mate. David says Amazon Canada isn't the best friend to miniature gamer. More reason to support your local gaming store. I don't really buy miniature stuff from Amazon, to be fair. There's very little in the UK like on Amazon, to be fair. I buy the odd board game now and again, but yeah, I tend to just buy like from local gaming stores or whatever. Kudos to Henker says be always careful with Amazon. A lot of stuff there is more expensive than retail. Yeah, I agree, mate. It is. VJ says I'm good, thanks, Andy. Building now errands, then games day with Dan playing Blitzball and Back the Future dice through Time Copium. I've never heard of that, mate. VJ also give him that Eldritch Horror expansion for his late birthday present. Very kind of you, mate. He says love giving people presents, especially when it's something they know they'll love. Yes. And he says the mic sounds okay today. Chris says I noticed the mic on Monday, but it's fine today. Yeah, I noticed it when I come to do Tuesdays, like the BlackJack clips video. Obviously, I'd recorded that part of the live stream, and I could tell the sound. It wasn't awful, but it wasn't as good as it should have been. And I had to do a little bit of sort of processing just to try and tidy it up a little bit for the Tuesday video. But yes. So I'm just kind of considering whether to invest in any new audio equipment or whether I can just kind of get away with this for a bit longer. Because it's one of them things where you don't really want to spend money unless you have to. Like it's not going to get me any more viewers or anything like that. But if it's a problem, if it's something where it's kind of it's wearing out, something's going wrong with it or something, that's a bit different. Tim saying, his COVID test all clear. Nice one, mate. Good news, mate. Good news. I'm glad that was just a bit of a scare, mate, and nothing too serious. All right, let's come in with this Rhinox Hide Brown. We'll just put a little bit on the leather straps. And just the ones that come across his chest here. It's good enough for me. Getting there. Oh, come across the top there. No, you can't see it. So we took away his clothes. And we'll do one that comes around his waist as well. It's only shouting, woohoo, it's him there. So does that mean your little one can go back to school now, mate, then, or does he have to keep isolating or anything like that? I saw something on the news tonight about trying to say that that they're talking about kids now potentially stay at school until they get a positive test or something, because it's so unlikely, which will be an interesting change. Let me just tidy that bit up there. Right, we'll leave that one to dry a little bit. I haven't decided what colour I'm going to do the handles on the swords and stuff yet, so I'll leave that for now. Right, this is going to look awful, folks, but I am just going to basically bathe it in a wash and then highlight it back up afterwards. So I'm saying bloody COVID tests suck. I've had to have 4 tests over the past few months. Not very enjoyable. Yeah, thankfully, mate, I've not had to have one. So I've got no idea, but I can imagine they're not fun. I think my sister-in-law was doing those things where, you know, where they basically they were testing the proportion of the country and stuff just to get a feel on how things were. So I think she was doing a test like on a regular basis, even though she had no symptom type stuff, if you like. It was more just to get like some details and things. So this is just an Agrax wash. I'm just going to wash over, basically just to kind of come into the shadow. So even the bits I'm lightening up, I'm going to lighten them back up again. I'm just trying to get some kind of depth to the model. And it might look a bit of a mess at the minute, but trust me, it'll all work out for the best. Just trying to darken that down a bit. So yeah, I'm looking forward to. I think I'll play a game one night this week with my wife. We just bought another one of those exit games. We're big fans of those. You know, the kind of like a little bit like an escape room in a box type thing. The only problem with the exit ones is that you can only play them once. You have to purposefully kind of cut things up and like destroy parts of it in order to kind of solve some of the puzzles. However, once we've done it, we wouldn't play it a second time anyway. So for us personally, it's not really a big issue. It just would be nice to pass it on to somebody else. But yeah, so we bought one of those at the weekend when we were shopping from a local gaming store. The one that we've got, I forget what it's called, but it's the one where there's basically 2 in a box. So you play like the story over two different sort of parts, if you like. But yeah, looks good fun. We had a good laugh with the first one that we did, so look forward to giving that one a try. Vigis in the little ones had his breakfast, thinking build now. Nice one, mate. Alanson just had the antibody test. Look like a bloody junkie. Bloody hell, mate. Yeah, there's a lot of poking holes in people at the minute, isn't there? Vigis says, what factions are you all hyped for the Mantic Armada? To be honest, mate, I like the look of the Basilean ships, if I'm honest, and the Orc ships look nice. The Dwarf ones at the minute look a little bit like they're not awful, but they kind of pale in comparison to the other ones. But I think if I'm being sort of honest, I think we probably haven't seen the best yet. We've probably seen some sneaky peeks, basically, and there's better stuff to come. Obviously, we've seen a sneak peek of the Empire of Dust one, which was like the sketch that we saw in the build up to it. So yeah, I think we've got some nice stuff coming. And as I mentioned before at the start as well, I mean, the Mantic resins they're pretty good. So I'm expecting big things when they arrive. I was actually surprised you can pre-order it from Friday. That was a bit of a surprise. So, and I think what Mantic have got going for them, because they produce their resin stuff in-house, if they can get some pre-orders in early enough, it gives them an idea of how many they need to make. and that's one of the reasons why they don't necessarily need to go to Kickstarter with this kind of stuff now, because obviously they need to get books and stuff printed, but the actual models themselves they make in house, so they're in kind of control of their own destiny. They don't have to overproduce. Like if they were getting plastic ships made, for example, they'd have to produce a load, get them all sculpted, get molds made, get them produced, and then hope they kind of sell enough, which is why they've done Kickstarter stuff in the past. But yeah, the resin stuff, like I say, that they're in control of that. So right, he's had a bit of a wash over him. It looks an absolute mess at the minute, but once that dries and we start to highlight it back, we'll see that all come back. Tim's saying all the kids are back to school now as well. First test was unclear, so had to get a second. Oh, poor little bugger. Adam's liking the Orcs. VJ saying hasn't checked out yet. You and your wife into Harry Potter. I highly recommend Hogwarts Battle Game. It's really good to play your way through. Mark Berracloth was telling me about the Harry Potter game, the Hogwarts Battle, about how much he enjoyed it as well. I'm not a massive Harry Potter fan, if I'm honest. I don't really think my wife is either, but we're fans of a good game. Basically, it's less about the theme really sometimes, and more about just do we have fun playing it. So if it's good enough, we'd still play it. But yeah, but just because it's Harry Potter wouldn't kind of instantly sort of turn me onto it, if you like. We've still got some more of season 2 of Pandemic Legacy to play through as well. So we've got a few things on the boil. We're obviously playing a little bit of Godtear as well. I'm trying to convince her to do a playthrough on camera with me, just because obviously it looks like we're going to get another lockdown again in the northeast now. So we won't be able to have anybody that's not from your household. You won't be able to have anybody to your house. So you won't be able to visit them. So that'll be a lot of games go by the wayside. So yeah, I've been trying to convince her that she'll be fine. I won't put your face on the camera if you don't want to. We can just do the moves and stuff. So we'll see how that goes. Because I would like to get some kind of gameplay stuff on the channel. Alan said he's a sucker for naval games, so looking forward to Mantic's. Yeah, I knew in advance when it was coming out, but when they told me, I was surprised it was coming so soon. Vijay saying Orcs, Rats, Night Stalkers, Chaos Dwarves, quite a few factions he's interested in. He's debating a pre-order or trying to get it through a local retailer. Yeah, I mean the pre-orders are from local retailers as well, mate. So if you speak to a local retailer, they should be able to pre-order it for you. Tony saying I like the Orc ships, but having done Abyssal Dwarfs in the slow grow, I'm looking forward to seeing what madness they come up with. Yeah, who knows, mate? Who knows what that'll look like? VJ said, I'd rather not have to eat the shipping cost if I don't have to. Yeah, 100%, mate. I don't blame you. But yeah, it's the pre-orders are pre-order from your local game store as well. Have you seen the prices, mate? Did you see the prices and what you get inside? Adam says I won't be buying another for a while. Still need to get a job, but might be the Armada starter once I've caught up on a few bills. Yeah, best of luck, mate, with the job search. I hope that goes well for you. I'll tell you what, folks, I'm going to flick back to the main camera for a bit just while I sit and get a drink because my throat's drying up. How we're doing for time? We're doing okay. Yeah, I hope everything goes well for you, mate. I'm sure something will turn up soon. Vijay saying no, not any prices or box content. So basically, Mantic today sent all of the retailers all of the pricing, the contents and everything else. And let me see if I can find it for you, and I'll bring it up on the screen if I can. Because it's definitely been shared, mate. I'll have a little look and see if I can find something in the background while we're looking. Let me search for it. Armada Fanatics. Let's see if I can find it. Here we go, I think. So, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll get this up on my screen on this camera because I can't. Right, let's. This is the cheap way of screenshotting it. So what you can see here is, it says in the top left-hand corner, it says it is $74.99 in pounds. It is $89.99 in dollars, in euros, sorry, and $99.99 in US dollars. And the two-player starter set called has 4 Basilean ships. So it has 2 of one type. So there's like 3 different ships. One of them is double of. And the orc ships, there's 3 of those. There's 4 of those as well. One of them is double. The other 2 are singles. It says additional contents. There are rule book, which has rules, 10 scenarios, and background lore. 8 bases, 8 ship cards, 5 fleet reference cards, 14 Basilean and orc upgrade tokens, game dice, and a paper mat, which is approximately 3 foot by 4 foot. It's basically A0. It's the same size as the one that you get with the Black Sea starter. So yeah, that's the official price on that one. I don't know what it'll be US wise, mate, in Australian price wise, mate. But that's wave 1, and then if I remember right, they tell you in what order everything's coming out. That might have been on a different post. I'll see if I can find it, mate, and I'll post them in our Facebook group. But yeah, so that's the pricing anyway. I might do a video about it actually. VJ saying, so which fleet has the Captain BlackJack character? If I can get a BlackJack character into this game, mate, that would make my day. Scott saying, night all, got a bit early, take care, mate. I'll speak soon. Peter saying, I'm considering taking a closer look at Goat Lords. Adam saying, might try and split with Mark. He seems to be happy to go shares on things. That's pretty good, mate, if you've got somebody you can share stuff with. Pomsy says, I think I've seen £75 or €85 for the start. Yes, €80, 90 euros for the starter, mate. £80 it was, and $100. £25 for the fleet boxes. Kodos is saying that's right. Yeah, it is 25. It's very similar to the Vanguard model, where there is like a starter box and then a booster box, and I think they're £25 each. VG saying, surely you must have an in-game representation. Yeah, I would love that, mate. You all have to go and tell Matnik that you want to see a Captain BlackJack. I mean, it sounds perfect. VG saying probably about $150 to $200. Most retailers sell Mantic here at the converted rate. Yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward, isn't it? VG saying if you could post the Discord would be good. I don't really check the Facebook. Sorry, mate. Discord's what I meant. Yes, I'll post it in there when I get the chance, mate. Krabby says, good evening. Hello, Krabbers. How you doing, mate? This is late finish at work tonight. No worries, mate. Good to see you. Right, I'll get back cracking on with the painting. So, how are we going to do this one now? Right, what have I been painting blue? I've been painting anything that's kind of like, I don't know whether you can see on there. If I'm getting nice and close, you can see there's like kind of like hexagon like sort of stuff. Anything that's been hexagon, I've kind of been painting the main blue colour, and then basically working away from that with the other colours to try and decide which colour needs to go where. That's how I've been using it as a bit of a starting point. So that they're not all wearing exactly the same kind of clothes or anything like that. So it's just about trying to make them cohesive, basically. So yeah, if you haven't checked out my video for Godtear, please do check it out. I'm kind of, even if I do say so myself, I'm kind of proud of the content, of the sort of the research I did, the videoing, the editing and stuff. Kind of happy with that. So yeah, it's just I want people to watch it, basically. If I've put the effort in, I'd quite like for people to watch it. That's all. Right, I think we'll give. He's got like kind of like a sort of like a stomach, or like a chest piece on here. So I think we'll paint that blue too. And then we'll do the same, give him the blue shoulder pads, and I think that gives me that kind of like that V-shaped colour as well. David says, what category do you put your YouTube videos in? Mine all go in gaming, mate. They always have from day one. I've never really kind of considered it much, to be fair, whether it makes any difference or not. But yeah, they all go in gaming, mate. So my subscriber numbers have been all over the place the last few weeks. I get 10 subscribers and then I lose 7, and then I gain 5, and then I lose 10, and something's kind of I'm either annoying some portion of my old subscribers, and they're all leaving, but I'm attracting new ones at the same time. It's just that the numbers kind of keep balancing each other out, so it's not really going anywhere at the minute. But that's fine. It's not about subscribers. It's just frustrating when I see that number keep going up and down, like a fiddler's elbow. The views keep going up. That's all that really matters. Patreon's doing well as well, folks. We've got I think it's 108 people in the Patreon now. That's awesome to see. Those kind of numbers were just an absolute kind of a pipe dream when I first started doing this. So yeah, I'm absolutely blown away by that. Thank you for your support, folks. Right, we've got to do this piece on his back. I think that should be blue as well. VG says Mighty Ape had a deal on the Kings of War Goblin Mega Army for 135 Australian dollars. Was thinking of grabbing it in advance for when the new Kings of War box comes out, and I'll have a huge Gobbo army right out of the gate. Do you want a huge Gobbo army, mate? I'm gonna play devil's advocate for you now, mate. Are you gonna paint it up and are you gonna play it, or do you just like the idea of it? There you go. There's me being sensible. That's with my sensible dad voice on. What do you want it for? I'm trying to save you some money here. If you really want it, get it. Alright, I think that's the blue there. That's all we need to do for that, I think. We'll do his blue mask as well, and his shoulder pads here. Peter says Land Speeder Storm's taking quite a while. Say what you want, but GW's detail is always top notch. You say top notch, mate. Some people would say it's over the top and unnecessary. I tend to agree with you. I think it's there's a lot of detail on it, but I think some people just get frustrated by the amount of detail that's on. Mark said I was looking for Burrow badges in the Goblin gaming site and could not find anything. To be honest, mate, very few places actually sell Burrows and badges other than Old Sworn themselves. I think everybody I know has pretty much gone direct to them, which is it's a shame, really, that you don't see it in more places. Right, we'll go in with the contrast now. Yeah, Adam's saying there, I think you only sell direct. Yeah, that's right, mate. Steve Evans is off. Night all, mate. Take care. VG saying, I like the idea of it. Fine, I already have too much stuff to paint. I'm not trying to put you off, mate. I am literally playing devil's advocate. And even when it's a good, the reason I say this is I fall into that trap myself all the time. It seems like too good a deal to pass up, and then before you know it, that box is half finished and it's sitting in a cupboard somewhere, and it's never ever going to see the light of day. I'm terrible for that. Getting caught up in what seems like a good deal or what on a whim. I like the idea of it and then do nothing with it. Marcus saying just finished sculpting the membrane to connect the left arm on my Vargeist. Wow, mate, that sounds like a lot of work. Crabby said, have you been pre-highlighting, mate? Fancy. I always pre-highlight, mate. I always every one of my minis normally has Zenithal highlighting on it. I always do that, mate. The only ones I didn't do it with was my Necrons, and that's because I was kind of dry brushing over top of black. So that's why they didn't have it. But yeah, I normally do it for everything else, mate. Tim says go direct to Oathsworn, brilliant service. Yeah, the other side of it as well, going direct to Oathsworn is that they basically make all the money from it as well. So it's they do have fantastic service, but at least they're then not having to pay for distributors or for third parties. I mean, there's everything in life basically. There's so many people take a cut out of things before it gets to us to buy. It's kind of disgraceful, really, but that's just the way of the world. Rich is saying the Mantic Mega Armies are great value, so I'm sure I can wait. It won't kill me. No, it won't kill you, mate. Don't worry about Adam says, VG, it really depends if you want to play Kings of War at CanCon, mate. That's my plans for my dwarves eventually. Oh, nice, mate. I didn't realise that you were hoping to get out and play, mate. Peter says, that's what I like about the older Marines. Not over the top detail, but just enough to have the right vibe. Some of the newer stuff is a bit full for my taste. Yeah, I think they look beautiful as well, mate. I'll be honest. I think they look fantastic. But there is... When you're painting a lot of them, that can get a bit tiring, I'll be honest. Marcus says, sculpting muscles and connective joints with green stuff is hard. I'm sure you need some kind of biology degree, mate, to be able to do that. I've got no idea when it comes... I don't think I've ever really sculpted anything, if I'm perfectly honest. I've never felt the need to. So yeah, you've got one up on me with that one, mate. I wouldn't even know where to start. Okay, just mix some of that up. Krabby saying to Peter, yeah, I've seen some exceptional pieces, but nothing mass-produced in plastic. Yeah, they're on a different level, mate, to be fair. I mean, when it comes to like just general kind of quality, there are some fantastic quality minis out there, but you tend to find the vast majority of them are resin, purely just based upon the numbers they're going to sell. When it comes to plastics, there's only really Games Workshop sell like that amount of stuff where it's worth doing them in plastic. So yeah, I'm a big fan of the minis. Even if you don't really like them, you can't kind of knock the quality of them. Like even what the discussion we're having now, where sort of some people say they've got too much detail on them, regardless of whether you think there's too much or not enough or whatever it is, they're still fab quality. So what games are folks kind of looking forward to seeing? Or have you, like, I mean, when I say looking forward to seeing, it doesn't have to be a new game. It can be a game that's been out for years, but you've never played it and you're quite interested in it. Or maybe there's a game that you've always had your eye on and you've just never got round to it. Is there anything that you're all thinking about at the moment? I've kind of like put stuff on my radar. What's on the kind of, what's on your lips, if you like. I like to hear, kind of get the pulse of the nation, so to speak. Oh, I forgot to do his mask, didn't I, when I was painting the blue. Fiji said, I love the amount of detail on Citadel minis. I just hate having to paint it all. Do you know what it is, mate? That's exactly where I was with the Death Guard. I basically just kind of like washed over a lot of it and just made it look a bit dirty and grubby. But there was so much stuff on there that I could have picked out and basically just didn't bother. It was, especially on some of the bigger models, like the more detailed ones, it was just quite overwhelming at times. But I wouldn't necessarily want to paint a full army. I mean, the work that Adam's been doing with his is phenomenal, mate. Doing such a good job of it with the amount of stuff that there is to paint on those models. Peter says, new Hero Quest. I want to know what it is like. I'm assuming it's like Hero Quest, mate. I assume they're pretty much just going to do a new version of it, really. Because I think it's a dangerous one, isn't it? When you pick up an old one that's kind of like loved as much as Hero Quest is, if you stray too far from the original rule set, I think you're going to basically like lose a lot of the hype that people have for it. So I think you'll find that they probably end up staying very close to the original. It would not surprise me if there's very little change at all. Right. Chorus is saying, looking forward to Star Saga. Have it on my desk, better said 100, for a while. I want to start playing as soon as school stress is over. Yes, mate, Star Saga's a good game. You'll enjoy that, mate, when you break that one out. Vincent VT, good evening, sir. Thank you very much for joining the Patreon. I think it was overnight last night. Thank you very much. I'm trying to look now to see, is your name still there? Yes, you're still on the screen, pledging on the Patreon. Thank you so much, sir. Hugely appreciated. Let me get some of this blue as well, and we'll go back and do the mask that I forgot to do. Paint that one in. That's it. Frantic saying next month's budget goes on a new Warcry starter. Yeah, new Warcry coming October, I think, don't we? Ian says, so if a modder is based on Black Seas, is there any chance of flyers? There isn't any flyers in Black Seas, mate, is there? Because I don't think anything... We didn't have flying things in Black Seas. They've essentially basically taken the core rules of Black Seas, but they've improved on a lot of it. They've streamlined a lot of it. They've enabled magic to be used in it. The sea monsters in it. You know, the little kind of like the little trails that you have behind the ships that you have in Cruel Seas and Black Seas. All that's been gotten rid of as well. Yeah, I think they've really done a good job of it. Tim Kelly says, do it, Tony. I enjoy all the FFG app-driven games. Yeah, I think they're good as well, mate. David says, Oathmark has really grabbed me back into mass fantasy combat. The maximum unit size is 20 and you can build a kingdom of various races. It says it feels incomplete right now though, but I'm looking forward to it. That's kind of what put me off, mate. When I read it, it did feel very incomplete. It felt like it was just like it wasn't a finished game quite yet. And I just thought, I've got no rush, mate. Peter saying, I wonder if they have a fixed board or with separate tiles. It would, in my opinion, be the best way to make it more modern. I don't know. I don't know if they will make it modern, mate. I don't know if part of the appeal is to not make it modern. Vincent saying reboots are very difficult. You either change too much and people complain, or you change too little and people accuse you of just ripping them off. I agree, mate. That's exactly where I think it is. I think this one could turn out to be a bit of a weird one. I think it will make a lot of money. I've got absolutely no doubt on that. But it wouldn't surprise me if people are not really happy at the end of it. Because like even Hero Quest itself, there is so much like rose tinted glasses with that game. It's not as good as you remember. It's pretty basic when it comes to kind of dungeon crawlers. There are far better dungeon crawlers out there, but it's just got so much nostalgic kind of feel. That basically, like I'm the same. Like it was the game that got me into the hobby. So yeah, I've got some good like feelings about it, but I never play it. Like I never get it out and play it. There are so many other games I would play before I got Hero Quest out again, and I think that's what, in reality, I think that's what people will find, because the people that want to buy it will be the people that used to have Hero Quest and don't have it anymore, and I think what they'll find is if they do a complete remake of it, if they just make it the same, I think what you'll probably find is people will play it, and then go, oh right, okay, it's not as good as such and such, or this game's better, or they'll start basically changing the game up or something. I think it's a bit of a... It will make lots of money, I have absolutely no doubt. But something tells me it's not going to be the game that people think it is. Robert Zunk, good evening, mate. Hope you're well. Vincent saying you need to find that sweet spot, but it can be a very narrow path. I agree completely, mate. Ian saying there, the Captain BlackJack is in a book series I read, The Lost Fleet. There you go, mate. So he does exist. We definitely have to get him into Armada now. Who would Captain BlackJack be? He wouldn't be an orc, would he? Captain BlackJack. We need to have a. We need to talk to Mantic, get a competition to see if we can get him in. VJ saying rolling for movement in the original Hero Quest was awful. It's a bit of a slog, mate, isn't it? That's kind of like my point. Is it's not that there are better solutions these days, but you stray too far away from it, and it's not Hero Quest anymore. VJ still has Hero Quest. If it's just the original, I won't be picking it up, regardless of what it is, mate. I won't be picking it up. It's not for me, because I just know I won't play it. Peter says if you fancy play with your kids, it is what you remember. It's an entry-level game. It attracts youngsters like it did with us. Yeah, I agree with that, mate, but that's not really what the world wants now, is it? Like, there are other entry-level games that already exist. Like, for example, Dungeon Saga by Mantic is an entry-level game with some better mechanics, to be fair. But, yeah, I can't help but thinking it's rose-tinted glasses. Like Restoration Games were talking about picking it up at one point, and they have a really good track record of taking those original games and bringing them up to date, kind of 21st century style, but staying true to the original feel of the game. And if they'd got it, I think I might have had a better hopes for it, because I feel Restoration Games basically like they want to bring back these kind of once loved classics, where kind of Hasbro getting a hold of this one. It screams of like cash grab. I'll be perfectly honest, but maybe I'm being too cynical about it. Maybe I'm being a bit cynical. I hope I'm not. I hope I am. I hope I am being cynical. I hope it's perfect. Andrew Fairbanks says, "What's the progress on the models?" Are you not watching, mate? Are you talking about progress on? Are you talking about progress? Which one are you talking about progress for, mate? Adam says, "Sea Monsters and such an awesome idea. I love looking at those naval games and the emails. It really appeals to me. It looks really nice, mate, doesn't it?" Adam saying, "Captain Blackjack is an ogre for sure." Andrew says, "What's the progress on the models?" If you mean for this Armada game, mate, I think the initial ones are already sculpted and done, because they're going to send me some of those ones out. Vijay says, "Yeah, we got to do Captain Blackjack. I would say an abyssal dwarf." It listed a dwarf, mate, to be fair. Peter says, "Here, bird is Blackjack, Scourge of the Seven Seas," or Scourge of the Seven Seas, I should say. Captain Blackjack got to be a dwarf. I could handle being a dwarf, mate, to be fair. I could handle being a dwarf. Dave saying, "Early night for me, got your orcs finished. Thanks again, Andy." You are welcome. Tony saying, "Core request." There you go, mate. There's a better version. Peter says, "Somebody already out there today are classic games in waiting and playing much better than the old favourites." Yeah, there's an element of that, isn't there? Crobby saying, "Sub-Zero vibes for me, that mini and colour scheme." Sub-Zero on this one, it's definitely got that feel about it, mate. I was saying there's a few of them have got like this one is very much, it's got like an Assassin's Creed kind of vibe about it. The way he's kind of standing with the swords and the kind of like the crossed scabbards on the back. Adam says, "Captain Blackjack reminds me of Sloth from the Goonies." Thought we were mates, mate. Marcus says, "Captain Blackjack should be a charismatic sailor who got caught up in a pirate battle and came back a hero. He's good at pirate and he looks forward to the simple life." Thank you, mate. That sounds like it. Andrew Fairbanks says, "What are you doing?" But I'm not watching 100% of the time. Peter says, "Captain Sails on the horizon. Where are they?" Yes. So this is where I'm up to so far, mate. I've got these two to this standard. So this is the point where I've basically put the wash over the top of them, and then I'm going to start highlighting them back. I'm just letting that wash die down at the moment and dry off. And then this one is at the stage where I'm just about to put the wash over it. And I haven't actually got to Finvarr yet. He hasn't got anything on him yet. But we'll get to him at some point. If not tonight, then another time. Yes, so I think that is ready for the... In fact, what I'll do is I'll leave that one just to dry a couple of minutes while I come back and start highlighting some of this up. Krabby says, "Just don't make Captain Blackjack an orc fighter. Didn't go so well last time." Yes, mate. Fair enough. I agree with that one. I tell you what, mate. If we need to start a campaign. Start a campaign to get a Captain Blackjack. I would love that. Right. So what I'm doing now is I am just basically highlighting up now, back to that Ulfwan grey, and trying to leave some of the darker bits in the recesses as well, just to try and brighten it back up, but not have it like overly bright, because what we'll do is we'll highlight it like on the fine edges and stuff with a little bit of white as a final highlight. So we're just basically just tidying it back up again now, bringing it back to a not so dirty level, but leaving the recesses in there. So. And then what we're going to do is we're going to really brighten the blue up. So the blue looks a bit dull at the minute, but we're really going to lighten that up. It's going to come all the way up to is it Baroth blue? Yeah, to like this kind of this Baroth blue. So we're going to really brighten that one up and make it pop a little bit. Vijay says, "Speaking of Mortal Kombat, I'm really excited for the Street Fighter mini game. Should be shipping soon, and they go live with the Mortal Kombat expansion." I didn't realise we were doing a Mortal Kombat expansion, mate. I tell you what, it feels like forever ago, that Street Fighter game. I must admit that I was tempted purely just for the minis, because the minis looked nice. But again, that was another thing that I just thought, nah, I just don't need it in my life. um, I'm being much more selective these days. I think I'm kind of like I'm almost trying to like rationalize things, as in, do I really see myself kind of getting that to the table? Because like, for all I enjoy painting, and I am a hobbyist, like I love playing games. I absolutely love playing games and rolling dice. Like, but a lot of it, as I've mentioned before, a lot of it for me is the social aspect, the getting out and meeting people, and the kind of sitting having a laugh, and the telling stories, and talking about games, and like sort of discussing the games, and about them, and which bits do you like. And like, I loved going down to Warhammer World and sitting with Alan and Anna, and all the other folks that I met up with down there. Like, that is what I like doing. Like when we used to run the top table legacy weekenders, like that was the whole point of those. They were about getting together with people, rolling some dice. Like, it wasn't about kind of competitive gaming. It wasn't about a tournament. It was about just getting together and having fun and having a laugh and having a few drinks. And like, that's what gaming does for me. Like, painting for me is very solitary. Um, like it's a bit more of a kind of like a solitary kind of pastime. And I miss the gaming side. I'll be honest. I'm missing kind of meeting up with folks. And like, I used to love going to the open days and going to kind of conventions and just hanging out. Like, I would quite often go down to the Mantic open days, like just to kind of hang out and just speak to people that I don't see very often, and like meet up with folks. Maybe meet up with some of the other kind of like YouTube lads and things that I don't really get to see, or speak to the Mantic guys, to be fair. And I used to like UK Games Expo was by far my favourite, getting to kind of hang out with folks. Like, there was one night, it was me, there was Kieran, there was Ross as well from Games. We just sat and just kind of just rabbited on, and till small hours in the morning, had a few beers and played a little bit of Keyforge over a few drinks, and it was just nice just to hang out. And I miss all that stuff. That's why I was super looking forward to going to Adepticon last year, and I'm kind of honestly at the point now where I think even next year's Adepticon must be looking shaky now, because things are just not getting better fast enough, really, to give me confidence that I think that's going to be taking place. Sadly, Tim says the Hasbro app versions of Risk Monopoly and Cluedo are awful cash grabs, though Hero Quest was going to be just an app. No, mate, it says on their Twitter page, home of the board game, basically, of the Hero Quest, new Hero Quest board game. Vijay says, can't wait to fight Blanca versus Scorpion. Ryan Jackson, good evening, mate. Says, late to the show again. Ryan Jackson, you turn up whenever you want to, mate. It's always nice to have you here. Vijay says, yeah, I did back it before I instituted my Kickstarter rules, so you got a bit of a free pass. Yeah, I think, I'm trying to remember, mate, there was something else on Kickstarter. It might be Super Fantasy Brawl. That might have came out at the same time on Kickstarter, and I think that was why I decided to not do it. I'd played a lot of Super Fantasy Brawl, so I knew what I was kind of spending my money on at that point. So I wasn't too worried about that one. Right, we've kind of highlighted some of that back up. Let's put that one down for now. Peter says, did Dawn you Kodos? Now I'm thinking about painting my Star Saga mercenaries. Robert says, okay guys, got back for a few minutes ago from running errands. Should be getting my Kickstarter for Refuge Terror from the Deep at the end of this month. Nice one, mate. David says he's missed gaming a bit since the lockdown, but I'm definitely feeling it more as autumn comes. Yeah, I'm kind of like, I'm not like down in the dumps about it, but I really could do with kind of like hanging out with folks, getting a bit more social stuff going on, and unfortunately it's just not possible. Like, it's like, I was just reading tonight, like the local government in my area have been basically campaigning for to reinstate lockdowns and stuff, which essentially means that you won't be able to see anybody from outside of your home, you won't be able to go to other people's gardens, you won't be able to go to other people's houses. They're going to basically have curfews on bars and restaurants. It's essentially, like, for us, it would be just going back to basically where we were in March and April time, potentially. and it's a bit depressing in the grand scheme of things, because it's like I thought we was like starting to come out the other side of it a little bit, and actually like anyway, I'm not going to get into all that stuff now. But yeah, it's a bit sad, because I was starting to kind of set some games up with people, trying to get some game days sorted, get people around to play games. Me and Krabby were going to get a bit of 40k on, and unfortunately, it's looking like we're going to take a huge step backwards again. So, which is why I'm trying to convince my wife to play some stuff on the channel. See if we can convince her. Peter says, "Keep your chin up, mate. Actually, harder for you than for us. If we don't get games in, we have a pause for you at your job, so you need to plod on." Like the kitty poster says, "Hang in there." Yeah, I mean, it's like I need to play stuff to basically to have the experience and have the knowledge, to be able to talk confidently. Like I'm so fortunate that that my wife she's pretty awesome, to be fair. And like she played like a lot of Godtear with me to enable me to kind of get the review done, and if it hadn't been for her, that would have just sat on the shelf. It's a reason like there's people have sent me stuff to review, and there's a reason why a lot of it is still just sitting there and it's not being reviewed yet. Like the Bot Wars stuff, like I ain't got any games of it in yet, because I can't get people to play it basically. There is some other bits and pieces. Because playing on your own doesn't really give you a balanced view of how a game is. Because for me, it has to be fun. Like part of my reviews is I'm kind of gauging the person I'm playing with as well, to see how they feel about it. Because that gives me a bit more of an unbiased opinion of somebody who maybe wouldn't have necessarily picked that game up. If they're having fun, then there's something about it. But if I can see their eyes glazing over and they can't wait for the game to finish, then that says a lot about it too. So yeah, playing the games is kind of important. Otherwise, I'm not really reviewing them. I'm basically just doing a showcase of them, saying, "Here's this game. This is what it does. Buy it if you want," kind of thing. And that's not really what I want to do. Otherwise, I'm basically just being a marketing tool then. And I'm nobody's tool. If I'm going to be a marketing tool, I won't pay for it. That was the whole point of doing the channel the way I did it, so that I could actually give an opinion on it. Right, that's those ones highlighted up. I think I'll go back with the wash now. VG saying, yeah, originally back to Fancy Ball were pulled my back in when the shipping prices were announced. Yeah, I think there's a few people did that, mate. VG says, if I like the gameplay on Tabletop Simulator, I'll pick it up at retail. That's the way to do it, mate. I mean, to be honest, I mean, I still think I got a good deal, but if it ends up getting highly, like sort of quite big discounts at retail, I'll be a bit peeved, I'll be honest. Palmsy saying, if this carries on, could you not consider some kind of Zoom painting hangout? Probably, mate. And I considered doing that with like in the Patreon group, really, just in the Patreon in the voice chat channels and stuff like that. I'd considered doing something like that, but to be honest, it's rolling dice, mate. I miss as well. I miss the kind of actually playing a game and having fun. Peter says, around here the kids are already separated into groups in case homeschooling needs to come back. Just try not to think about it. Yeah, I'm trying not to kind of because my wife was telling me about this local thing tonight. It's supposed to be coming in on Friday. It's not being confirmed yet, but it's potential. And I said, like, no, I just don't even want to read it. I don't agree with it, and I think it's just depressing. So I don't really want to even read it properly. But then I still ended up reading it because I wanted to know like the facts of it, if you like. But yeah, it's tough times. It's tough times. But I mean, at the end of the day, I'm fit and healthy. I'm in a good place with like what I'm doing for a job type stuff. Things could be a lot worse. It's a bit first world problems when I'm complaining about missing rolling dice. That's for sure. Even if it is my job. VJ saying, yeah, it's a real kick in the teeth when things slip backwards, even more frustrating than anyone else is back at work and you aren't. I can imagine, mate. It's honestly like you must feel like you're the last person that's going to be getting back to work at this stage, mate. It must be awful for you. I can only sympathise and definitely kind of know how you feel. Andrew Fairbanks saying COVID is like the Thanos meme. It is inevitable. Yeah, you're not wrong, mate. Peter saying, what's the second warband in the Godtear set you got? The Eternal Blade has one cool and one not so. They're both really nice, mate, actually, in the flesh. This one, the second one that is in this set is... Oh, somebody just mentioned it earlier on. I can picture his face. Titus. It is the Titus warband, mate. So you get Finvarr and Titus in this one. And Titus is a nice sculpt as well. So that's a bit of wash over that one just to darken it down, and we'll get back to highlighting it back up once that's dry. We'll crack back on with the other one. Yoakum says, sounds great to hang out with miniature hobbyists from this community. BlackJack, I live in the wrong country. I know, mate, if only you were a little bit closer, but I'm sure we can get some hangout stuff done again. Peter says, can you set up the board, move everything by yourself, but have the other player over a video chat? I've seen it done a few times, not the same. Yeah, and unfortunately, when I'm trying to review something gets lost trying to do it like that. Like if somebody else is just sitting at the other end of a phone, like at a video, and I'm trying to show them cards and I'm trying to explain how to play a game, I'm not really getting a true feel for it or a true opinion, really. Dirk says, when you speak, there's a humming in the background you spoke of earlier. Got no idea, mate. I can't hear it at my end, and I can't stop messing about trying to fix it now, buddy, but thanks anyway. Martin says, people say there are someone who see the world as glass half empty or half full. I'm just happy to have a glass, that's how I stay positive. And Andrew said, I hope she's not a glass of pee. Yeah, I mean, there is an element of kind of staying positive, but it's been a long time now. I mean, none of us have experienced stuff like this in our lifetimes, that's for sure. And I hope we never do again. So, right, let's highlight some of this blue back up now. Now I want to try, make sure it's on camera, and just highlight the insides of these hexes. Let's see if I can just bring them up a little bit. Just try and bring it in there as if it's kind of like quilted a little bit. And try not to make too much of a mess of it. So, Peter saying no humming at his end. VJ saying bring on the vaccine. David says the noise should be when Andy's noise gate activates and his mic comes on. Then we get to hear his voice and the ambient sounds. That's probably what it is, mate. Yeah, the noise gate is basically just so if I go quiet, there'll be a very slight sort of. You'll get a little bit of ambient noise, and then it'll just go absolutely silent because basically it cuts all sound off completely. You'll only notice it when if I stop talking for a long period of time, like sort of if I stop talking for maybe like 2 or 3 seconds, you'll hear it cut out, and then you'll hear it come back in. So yeah, that's all it is really. But I do think there is a little bit of kind of electronic background noise coming from the PC when I'm doing live streams. When I'm doing a normal recording a video, I don't get that because it doesn't go through the PC, so it just goes straight into a voice recorder. So yeah, I'll need to play about with it at some point. But to be fair, the setup I've got now, I think people are almost noticing it now because I was messing about with it the other day, which made it worse. But I think people are noticing it now because there was an error with it on Monday. So now people are kind of listening for something that's been there since day one. I always listen back to my videos afterwards and stuff just to try and check and see, is there anything that needs improving? Is the audio okay? Is the lighting okay? I'm always trying to kind of improve it and make it a bit better. But at the minute, I need to spend some serious cash to kind of improve on the audio, I think. And I'm not really sure that it's going to do me any benefits really in the short term. It's not suddenly going to get me more subscribers or more viewers, if you like. Peter saying, yeah, he can't hear it. Adam says, long time no see. Hello, Adam Rogers. How are you doing, fella? I'll be honest, I've not watched anything in around a year. I'm still following along on Facebook, and I'm glad to be getting back in the swing of things in the coming weeks. Nice one, mate. Glad to see you back, Adam. Is there anything that you're that's kind of pulling you back in? Is there something you've seen, or are you just genuinely just kind of coming back to it? Peter says that blue wasn't speaking to me, but once highlighted, it's actually pretty nice and vibrant. It'll look great, mate. I used the same kind of stuff on my dwarfs as well. So actually, let me just show you one of my dwarfs ones, and I'll show you how it'll look. So once it's highlighted up, it'll look like that kind of thing. So that's when it comes up with a bit more brightness, so you can see it on the dwarfs themselves there as well. It just actually you might be able to see it there on the head there, where you've got the darker bits and the lighter bits. That's how it'll eventually come up. That's where it'll get to. So yeah, it does need brightening up. Right, let's come a little bit brighter. So this one we've got a Temple Guard blue. If I can find on the camera there, just to brighten it a little touch more. Peter says it's not the half full of the half empty that matters, it's the size of the glass. Yeah, you're not wrong, mate. David says I can hear the hiss, but it's not nearly as annoying as the sound of the fan on my CPU trying to stop it from cooking itself. Andrew says blue snowball. No, to be honest, mate, there's better microphones than snowballs now, mate. I've been looking at things like the Elgato Wave 3s and all sorts of bits and pieces, really. But the problem is, I either buy a decent XLR mic and like all of the equipment that I need to feed it into my PC, and try and get rid of all of that background hum, so that I can use that when I'm recording normal videos as well. Or I buy like a USB mic, something like a Wave 3, but then I can't use it when I'm recording a normal video because it goes into, like, I've got a Zoom audio recorder. So that's the problem I've got at the minute, really, is it's just I'm kind of halfway between two things. So I'll find a solution at some point, but I'm not. What I don't want to do is just buy a slightly better version. If I'm going to spend money, then I'm going to buy a decent one, basically, rather than buying twice. So I just need to thin that down a little bit, I think. Ryan Jackson says, Dwarf Pirate Captain, does a blue coat become enhanced with an orange hat? Sure, it probably does. Blue and orange goes really well together, mate. But it does have a bit of a sci-fi vibe about it, I would say. That's the only thing I would say. Peter says that looks great. Yeah, I like them. I'm a big fan of painting blue and painting red are kind of my crutch colours. If I'm not sure, they're always my fallback options because I just enjoy painting them. I feel like I've kind of got them down to a bit of a knack. So you can start to see the effect there as I'm just starting to lighten that up a little bit now, and it'll go one more lighter than that. Chuck and Deb Taylor says, good afternoon from Smoky, Oregon. Air quality is at hazardous level. Praying for rain. Wow. What is it that is causing that? Is it like sort of exhaust fumes from a factory or something? Is it just general kind of smog from traffic? What's causing the air quality issues? Is it bad weather blowing in? Because it's not something we tend to kind of think about too much here in the UK. Unless you kind of live near motorways or near some kind of sort of like power factory kind of things, power plants. Adam saying no specific game bringing back, just coming off a broken back and the depression that comes with that. Really sorry to hear that, mate. I'm not surprised. I can completely understand why you've not been feeling yourself, mate. Moving to a new larger house next week with dedicated hobby space. Well, I hope you're starting to feel a little bit more like yourself, mate. And obviously you're always very, very welcome in our little corner of the internet. So it's good to see you back, mate. Good to see you back. I'll tell you what, I'm going through that stage where I go really quiet, where I'm concentrating on the hard parts that I don't want to screw up. What I tend to find, folks, is, I mean, you've seen kind of how basic I've kind of painted these tonight. Kind of base coat it, wash it, and then start to highlight it back up. And then what I find was if I pick a particular colour, like the blue on this one, and just sort of spend a little bit more time on it, just kind of highlighting it up, giving it a little bit so that it pops a bit. It makes a very average paint job just look like 10 times better. Like when these are finished, I'm sure they'll get some like nice comments about them. And they're nothing flash. They're nothing great in my opinion anyway. It's just it's pretty basic, but sometimes it's just knowing when to go overboard, when to spend a bit more time, and when to just do the basics. And what I found from doing my dwarfs was that basically you can cut a lot of corners as long as you spend a bit more time in certain areas. It's a wildfire smoke. I to be fair, I very rarely watch any TV or look at any news, if I'm honest. So I apologise if I've missed something there. I hope you're safe. I don't know how long that's been going on, but yeah, I hope you're nice and safe there anyway. So I'm praying for rain for you too. Forgive my ignorance there. Like I say, I don't watch a lot of sort of live TV and news and stuff, especially at the moment. VG is saying send separate channels out to the. Oh, what was that one? I've got the ZE8 channel mixer with built-in USB sound card. Can't recommend it enough. You can do all the real audio stuff. I might have to look into that in a minute because I've been trying to consider about do I get like a decent audio mixer and stuff. Because I think what happens is I've got like a little USB sound card thing that I basically plug my microphone into, and I'm pretty sure there's some kind of like electronic feedback that comes through it anyway. And I think that's half of probably what the issue is. And then obviously you've got like phantom power to the microphone and stuff. So there's all sorts of sort of weird things going on with it. I might pick your brains about that audio stuff, mate. To be fair. Did you see Andy's dance? Thank you very much. Andrew saying we've been in the 60s to 80s. It should be 90s. Wow. Adam says did have a look at the Dead Zone freebies over the spring, but that model looks nice. Yeah, this one is it's for a game called Godtear, mate. It's part of a little. There is basically a champion model who's kind of like a godlike character, and then these are his followers basically. So I'm just highlighting these up now. Tony says, yeah, it sounds like a rough trip. Yeah, Marcus says the only drawback about playing Harlequins in 40k, they lean towards an over-the-top paint job. Yeah, they definitely do, mate. I mean, they're beautiful minis, but they almost like cry out for you to paint that kind of Harlequin paint scheme, don't they? VG's in California is where Australia was in November. Basically, it's all on fire. Yeah, I must have just completely missed stuff, mate. I've not been watching any TV lately, other than like a few like box sets I've been watching with my wife like on an evening. But I'm just not even putting the news on. I'm not in the car to like listen to the news like I used to. And then when I'm working during the day, I'm like I don't listen to anything basically because I'm recording, or if I'm not recording, I'm editing. And then if I'm editing, I've got my headphones on, so I'm kind of not really up to speed. And then obviously with all the COVID stuff that's in the news at the minute, I've stopped looking. I've stopped looking on my phone when it comes to that. It's depressing as it is. So I tend to miss out on a lot of what's happening in the world at the minute. Just keep highlighting that one up a little bit. So that's that one, and then let's go with the lighter blue as well. Saying that's the one. Fantastic unit. Right, mate. I'll need to have a look at it then. Marta says, "Yep. Here in Texas, the last 5 nights when the sun sets, it turns red due to all the smoke. My God, what is happening in the world? What on earth is happening? Is this like end times? Is it like the day they blew up Warhammer Fantasy? Is it happening in the world now?" Tell you what, if it wasn't for all the bad news, there'd be no news at all, would there? Unfortunately. Right, thin this blue down a bit more, and then we'll highlight it up with the lighter blue as well. Peter says, "Sounds like we're going to the Armageddon." I know, Jesus. I tell you what, at least we'll go down with a live stream. If it happens, we'll probably all be on a live stream together, so we'll all suffer together. Right. Um, Mo- Marcus says, only if you do not believe in a better tomorrow. I would love to believe in a better tomorrow, mate. The problem is tomorrow feels like a long time away at the minute. Andrew says, if it wasn't a disappointment, I wouldn't have any appointments. Tim says, new summary for you, Andy. It's chuff and shit show out there. Yeah, I think I've basically just buried myself in the house, mate. Like, since I started doing this full time, I basically stay at home, work all day, work all night, don't go out, don't need to go out and buy new clothes because I don't go anywhere. I'm not eating out anywhere because the restaurants were closed for so long, and now they're open. I'm on a diet. I'm not drinking, so I don't go to the pub. And when I do get any spare time, I normally stick a film on, or me and my wife will watch some kind of box set or something like that. So, yeah, I'm pretty out of touch, mate, if I'm perfectly honest. The only news I actually look for is tabletop gaming news, so I've got something to talk about with you lot. So, yeah, I think I'm just pretty much out of touch with what's happening in the world, mate. Chuck and Deb saying there, it's I can understand not wanting to watch the news. When I go to the gym in the morning, I change all the channels from news to rugby and tennis. Yeah, I got to a point where basically every time I turned the news on, it was just doom and gloom and talking about death rates and talking. It was always about the same thing all the time, and I got to the point where it was just like, I really need to just kind of worry about me and my family for a bit and not worry about the rest of the world at this stage, and stop watching the news. So. So yeah, I kind of haven't seen anything in there in quite some time when it comes to that kind of stuff. So you can kind of see now it's starting to highlight a little bit. You can kind of see what I'm going for. Obviously, where it's kind of that really light grey, I'll put a little bit of white in that as well, just to kind of on the high spots, just to brighten up a little bit. But this is what I mean about kind of. So these are the blue Guardian warband. So I just want blue to be the accent colour, and that's kind of why I'm doing it that way. Peter says, forget that live stream. If the world goes down, we can have a meet up. No point in social distancing. You're not wrong, mate. Pomsy saying, all work and no play makes BlackJack a dull boy. I never really used to go out beforehand, mate, to be fair. I was always working too much then as well, but I've said this many times. I don't like have a kind of a big social circle of friends anyway. So it's not like I'm letting anybody down by not going out. I'm quite happy with I am like I might not sound it, but I am really really kind of happy with where things are. I'm just I'm in a good place, like in my own kind of life. Like I'm doing a job I love doing. Like, family life's great. The little one's doing really well at his new nursery now. He's kind of starting to settle in. Like, my wife's at home more because she's not working away all the time. Things are just in a good place. But like, obviously, I'd much rather the world was in a bit of a better place as well at the same time. But, yeah. But I'm not like down about it. That's my point. It's just I'm missing playing games and stuff, really. That's all. So, I need to decide what colour to do the handles on these swords. I don't know whether I kind of go something really bright with like a purple or a pink or a red or something like that, just to really brighten it up, like I did. If I show you what I did with my Ossiarch Bone Reapers, kind of like that, where they had the red handles on those just to give it a bit of a spot colour. I wonder whether I do something like that just to kind of give it a bit of a focal point. Those were the bigger ones as well, just to kind of as a comparison. The red just to give it a little bit of something different. I don't know yet. I don't think I'll do that bit yet until I'm convinced. Andrew said it's okay not to have a large social circle. It's just curmudgeons who keep those damn kids off our lawns and the ones who set the world straight. What I'm saying, yeah. Ponzi not mauled me yet, but it's been close. Oh, that was the dog, innit? Adam saying get out the colour wheel and go opposite. I can't even remember the colour wheel now. I think it probably is red if I'm honest. But yeah, I think that's actually. Let's tell you what. Let's have a quick look at the colour wheel here then. And let's see what the colour wheel's telling me. Colour wheel. Oops, hope if I could spell wheel right. Yeah, I thought it would be. So, colour wheel. We're probably talking kind of red or orange here, really, aren't we? We're probably like in this kind of region. So we're coming across here towards like red and orange, really. So, yeah, I think we might do that. However, I'm going to do a bit more of the white now, I think, just to try and highlight it up a little bit. Yeah, orangish. That's what I'm thinking there, mate, as well. Like go with a red, but highlight it up to a bright orange, I think. Yeah, of course, using RGB, it's red. I thought that's what I mean. I've kind of that's why I was thinking red in the first place. Maybe my natural instinct is worth following. If in doubt, look at football teams as well. Rugby teams, football teams, soccer teams. Somebody designed them kits to all work together. All right, let's get a bit of white on here. Just dry that off a touch. Colour wheel says no. Wheel. Crabby, see, I can't remember what I was trying to write in there, but wheel wasn't the word that was coming in, mate. That's for sure. I just need to wash that brush a bit better. There's a bit of blue on the end of my brush. Good job I didn't start painting with that. How are we doing for time? Oh, we're okay at the minute. We're not too late. I'm making progress. Oilers used red as a flare for powder blue. Yeah, that's why I'm thinking red, mate. That was my initial gut feeling. Stick with what you know, eh? Stick with what you know. Colour wheel. I don't know what word was going in there, but it wasn't wheel, mate. That was for sure. Right, let's just try and brighten this up a little bit. Just to try and bring the front here. Just to lift the brightness a touch. Peter says probably type on a colour wheel. Yeah. Peter says I never bother with colour wheels. It's just which paint hasn't dried up yet. Do you know what it is, mate? That's probably closer to the truth than I'd like to admit. I have been considering investing in some new paints. Now I'm doing a lot more painting. I've actually bought some paint racks, so most of my paints are all over there. I was talking about doing a bit of a hobby sort of room studio to a video thing a little while ago. I think it was on one of the Monday night streams, or it might have been last Wednesday even. So I've got the plans to do that one. I've been buying some material for recovering my gaming table here as well. So I've got a nice black suede top for my gaming table now. So you'll see on tomorrow's video, which is the Escape the Dark Sector video, you'll see just like it doesn't reflect the light with it being kind of like black suede. It looks nice on camera. And if I'm doing any kind of like any reviews or gameplay stuff or anything, it means it doesn't stand out too much. It looks really good. So I'm happy with that. It just needs fitting properly basically, and it needs stretching across the top and stapling in place. But I need my wife to give me a hand with that one. I can't do it on my own. And do a good job of it anyway. So yeah, that's a job for probably maybe even tomorrow night, to be fair, when she finishes work. Peter says, just remember, if it was suggesting something dirty, it's because of your previous searches. No, it wasn't something dirty, mate. I think it was just my sausage fingers weren't hitting the letters that I wanted to hit. And also the auto predict is awful on my iPhone. So many, it makes me look like I'm dyslexic, half the stuff that it puts in there. The amount of times I have to go back and because I'm awful at checking what I wrote before I press send. The amount of times I have to go back and edit it and change it up. When I realise what's sent is not actually what I meant to say. Shaven sheep whales sounds about right. Marcus is like, I never felt a colour wheel. Nearly 20 years of art classes have been permanently burned into my mind. Why is that not focusing? There we go. I did art at GCSE level, which is kind of like at school, but yeah, I never progressed beyond that. And I did graphic design actually, so we didn't. I don't even think we even really talked about a colour wheel when I was at school. Maybe we did, and I just didn't pay any attention. That probably sounds more like it, doesn't it? So yeah, so we're starting to highlight up that white now. You can see it's starting to brighten up a little bit. And I don't think we're a million miles away from calling that one a day. I don't want to ruin it basically, but yeah, it doesn't look too bad. I think. The hell's my fingers look blue on the end there. Right, we'll call that one, and we'll move on to the other one. Start highlighting this one up. So basically, that's just to compare the two. That's where we got to, and that's where it was before, like after a wash, and then it's just to brighten it up. Yeah, I'm happy with how it's looking. I can see it looks solid, better than what I can do. Adam, I tell you what, mate, it's all shortcuts. It looks good from a distance. It'll look good in a photograph. Because I won't take individual pictures. I'll take a picture of the warband as a whole when it's finished. But if you were to pick it up and look close, you'd see all the mistakes, mate. Adam's saying about stainless steel bearings. I did the same thing, mate. I bought stainless steel ball bearings, and they all rusted in the bottom of my paint as well. They obviously weren't stainless. Adam says, what's your favourite between Godtear and Warcry? Interesting, mate. They're very different games, and they scratch kind of very different itches. Warcry is definitely the more miniatures game, if you like. But there's something about the speed of Godtear. They're not having to build the minis up. They're not having to kind of get all the terrain out. There's something about Godtear at the minute that's really kind of grabbed me. I haven't kind of like I'm not walking away from Warcry, if you like. I'll be picking up the next starter set when it comes out. I'm really interested in the catacombs bit and the fighting in dungeons and stuff. And I'm really looking forward to the whatever they're called, the Shadow. I forget what they're called. Shadow Stalkers, I think they are. The kind of like the dark elf type ones. I'm really looking forward to getting those. But Godtear fits in that gaming space for me, where it still has all the things I love about miniature gaming, with like good quality miniatures and kind of moving them around and rolling to hit and all that kind of stuff. But in a board game setting, which means that it doesn't kind of scare off. Like my wife, basically, if she sees like a tape measure come out, like on a game, it's like, whoa, not for me. I'm not interested. Like, this is that kind of mix of like it's still a board game as far as she's concerned, or my kids are concerned. They haven't got to build any bits and pieces. Like the older lads are not interested in building models and stuff, but will happily kind of play this kind of game with me. So it might be a case of kind of current circumstances, but then I didn't find this with Aristea. I didn't find this with Underworlds. I mean, I liked Underworlds, don't get me wrong, but I hate deck building, if I'm perfectly honest. That's what put me off Underworlds. So it's a tough one, mate. It's a hard one. Maybe if I was getting out a bit more and playing more games, Warcry might edge it. But at the minute, I'm playing more games of Godtear than I'm playing anything else, and it's because I'm really enjoying it. So yeah, I think that Godtear might edge it at the minute, mate. It's just more accessible for the people I'm playing with, I think. Which in turn means that I'm enjoying it because I'm getting to play games. But it's close. It's close, mate. What else we got? Kieran saying, right, enough painting for me tonight. Glass of something and listen to Northern Tones for a bit. Nice one, mate. Yeah, Joachim saying he's built 8 gene stealers for Necromunda. Pretty sure we'll never see Andy build any Necromunda gangs. You'd be surprised, mate. I've got a Goliath's gang and an Escher's gang. Martin said, I took drawing, painting, sculpting, metal sculpture, design, theatre, technical classes, just about every art class you can get in high school and college. Expect for life drawing. Wow, mate. You're an artist. Adam says, did you say the wife played Godtear with you? Did she like it? Yeah, she enjoyed it, mate. She prefers to play it like just like one champion versus one champion, just so it doesn't become kind of overly complicated for her. But we are playing kind of at higher scales as well. She enjoys playing board games. She's just not interested in sort of like free movement games where it's a bit more abstract and you can move where you want and there's too many rules and stuff. So no, it's if she's not enjoying it, mate, she's putting a brave face on for me. So and I've played a bit with my older lads as well when they've been over, and I think they appreciate as well the fact that it's a relatively quick game. It sets up fast, you know, from getting the box out to actually sitting playing to putting it away again is quick gameplay wise. Ian says, I've been playing with the felt terrain lately and I find myself really missing real terrain. Got to finish unpacking. I used to play a lot of War Machine years ago, and those guys used to love just using kind of like felt terrain, and I kind of never enjoyed it quite so much. VJ says, Adam found glass not to be too heavy for Citadel paints. Yeah, Citadel paints are a lot thicker. I mean, I know people say like they're expensive and you don't get as much in the pot, but they're definitely thicker. They're nowhere near as thin down as some of the other ones. Like army painter ones are really kind of quite thin, and you might get more in a bottle and they might be a bit cheaper. But I think overall you probably get a bit less paint by the time you thin it down. Peter says deck building is nice if it makes you build to a theme. If it's competitive deck building, it's balls. So you don't play someone with the same mindset of just for fun. Yeah, I just I'm not really that interested in like list building. This is one of the reasons I love Warcry is the fact that I can buy a Warcry box for one of those factions, like the actual Warcry factions as opposed to the AOS ones. I can make up 1,000-point warband from it, and I can just play it. I don't have to worry about list building. I don't have to worry about trying to come up with the best kind of math hammer lists. I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. And I think that's what I'm starting to kind of realise. There are certain games that really kind of work well for me. Godtear, exactly the same. There's no list building. You basically just pick the 3 warbands you like, put them together, and that's your team. Super Fantasy Brawl, pick the 3 heroes that you want to use, put them together, that's your team. That's like, I think I'm starting to kind of realise the things I like. Like I struggle with list building because essentially that's not a part of the game that I like. And if I have to build lists or try to be clever with list building, just kind of when I build a list, it's almost can I fit the models that I like into the game. And unfortunately, like you say, if the person you're playing with is much more competitive than that, there's a bit of a mismatch, isn't there, of expectations. I think I'm much more just kind of playing for the fun type of person, which is why I never make any videos about kind of tactics and stuff like that. I'll talk about rules and kind of rules people get wrong and rules that people have been playing like incorrectly or whatever, but I tend not to talk about like tactics and things because it's just not a part of the game that I enjoy that much. I'd rather just roll dice and sort of have a laugh. Robert says, I go with what I'm feeling, and lately I've been feeling piratey, so I'm reading into Pirates of the Dead Sea and Blood and Plunder. Arr. Marcus says, yeah, I'm hardcore autist, mainly because I failed to get into science program in college. My math scores were not on the level I needed. I really want to be an entomologist or a herpetologist growing up. Yeah, I actually wanted to be a graphic designer when I was growing up, but I think I was of an era where people basically just said, that's not a real job, go and work in a bank or something, get a 9 to 5. and I regret it now. Looking back, I regret kind of going into that kind of. I had good marks, like my maths and my English and my science scores and everything were. I was a bright kid kind of thing at school. I was all right. So I had good results. So I got pushed like down. Like why waste all of that? Like when you want to do art, why waste all of those good scores that you got on maths and science and stuff? So I kind of like, and this wasn't my parents. It was more like teachers and careers advisors and stuff. I kind of got pushed down that route of like go and do your A levels, do something with that. So I ended up doing A levels in maths, pure and statistics. I did English language and I did chemistry. And as you can see, they all came in absolutely hugely useful. And I guess kind of deep down, I'm just more creative. But I didn't really have the kind of like the knowledge back then to kind of stand up for myself and just go, nah, that's not what I want to do. You just, like these days, like kids grow up wanting to be YouTubers and kind of influencers and all weird kind of things, but like that, they are real jobs. People get paid. Like you can make a career out of doing those kind of things now. Like, and I always encourage my kids basically just whatever you enjoy doing, they like follow a passion, because if you enjoy it, you'll work hard at it and you'll find a way to make money at it, kind of thing. You might not get rich from it, but if you wake up every day and you're happy, like that's got its own kind of wealth type thing. When I was younger, nobody would ever have that kind of conversation with you. It was always like it was the 90s. It was coming out of kind of the yuppie era, and everything was about making as much money as you can and buying the biggest house you could and all that kind of crap. And then especially coming from a family that basically had like little to no money, the idea of sort of going off and finding your fortune type thing was quite appealing. Interesting times though. Video saying hate deck building, best thing they did in Beastgrave was bringing the faction decks. I agree, mate. Yeah. Anna says I kind of gave up on my Finvarr crew. Decided to go really simple and just threw a couple of colours in a wash on. Going to try and finish tomorrow. Not mega impressed with the minis, if I'm honest. Not a fan of material. I think it's all right, and I'm surprised you're not a fan. I'm not having any issues kind of painting it up. It's there's plenty of detail on the minis. There's no issue with them. I don't know whether you've maybe had bad sculpts or something, but I certainly like the quality of them anyway. But then I don't. You've obviously spent a lot of time painting Games Workshop recently as well, the plastics, and you've probably just come off the back of a load of burrs and badges as well, painting metal stuff. I'm not a fan of painting metals, if I'm honest. I just find them just heavy to hold and can be quite pitted at times. Adam's saying quite like to try Gaslands. You build what you like to a theme. I don't know a lot about Gaslands, mate, other than basically everybody seems to rave about playing with toy cars when that's not really what I want to do. Vincent says I tried to be a graphic designer but didn't really work out for me. Then I went into IT. Yeah, one of my boys is he's doing his A levels at the minute, and he's basically he's actually applying for a kind of like an apprenticeship type thing, working for basically the British government, and like it's a bit like the Pentagon of the British government, I think. So fingers crossed for him. Barry says outrageous card interactions was one of the things that really finally put me off X-Wing, especially later in first edition. Never picked up second. Ryan says weird question, but do you thin your paints with just water? Yeah, sometimes, mate. Sometimes I'll use a little bit of Larmium medium if it's particularly thick and stuff, but generally I just use water, mate. I'm not like anything too snobby when it comes to painting. Peter says I have a diploma in economics and modern languages, and I just started working on the assembly line in the factory, and still after 17 years we don't always end up where we thought. No, I think the trick is to kind of follow your dreams a little bit and not let too many people put you off, because unfortunately we get sidetracked by doing what we think we should do, not what we want to do. Marcus says, oh yeah, I remember the whole 80s and 90s, making money is all that mattered mentally. Yeah, unfortunately, mate, it was. And I basically my like I say, we weren't particularly well off as a family. My dad was a coal miner, obviously just coming out of the miners' strike in the 80s and stuff like that. The last thing he wanted me to do was to go and kind of work in a factory or something. He was all about kind of trying to better myself and working hard and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, different times, mate, different times. But yeah, these days I just kind of all I wish for my kids is I just want them to be happy. Life's too short, mate, to get up every day to go to a job that you hate. And thankfully, me being able to try and do this as a career, it just kind of gives them a little bit of a spark of inspiration as well to say, well, you know, if my dad can do it, maybe it is possible. So I'm trying to kind of inspire them by showing that it's you don't always have to kind of do what everybody else does. Like the world doesn't revolve around a 9 to 5 job. And I say, yeah, I think that's it. Just paint a load of GW carry-on plastic, so a bit of a shock to go straight to this. Yeah, maybe. Barry's saying 80's good and Gecko Green is good. Yeah, definitely. Not saying they're bad. I mean, he's just not overly impressed. I think the difference is, Anna, is that they are board game pieces, basically. Compared to other board game pieces, I think they're absolutely fantastic quality. Compared to miniature games, if you like where they're multi-part sort of hard plastic kits, then I would agree they're probably not up to that scratch. But Curry saying, thinking out loud, could you put squares of sprue in paints as agitators, or would the plastic degrade? A lot of people do recommend that, mate. Just clip up your old sprues and put them in as agitators. And I said, yeah, they look cool for sure, just not enjoying painting them maybe because you're knackered from work. Yeah, there's always that as well. Sometimes when I'm painting, I get halfway through and I just think, I don't even know, why did I even start this? I don't even want to do it. Peter, wouldn't that be too light? I think I have heard about people putting sprues in though, to be fair. Adam says, if your lad is going for GCHQ, good for him. That was it, mate. I couldn't think of the name. GCHQ, that's the place he's just applied to. He's had to fill in loads of documents and stuff like that and background checks and things. The VJ said, I've been lucky enough to spend 20 years doing what I love. Just a pity that the Corona is probably going to put an end to that. Yeah, honestly, mate, I really feel for you on that one. Ryan says, I have something called Visco Tears from the missus. Having an eye issue, it adds fluid but does not dilute pigment. Plus it comes in small dispensers. I suppose it's a bit like Lamy and Medium. It's essentially whatever they thin the paint down when they make it, because they don't thin it down with water. It basically it dilutes it without diluting the pigment. Marcus says, now I think I only had one job I hated when I worked part-time at a restaurant. The manager didn't like me at all. Every other job I ever had is for artistic skills and I've loved them. Yeah, that's half the battle, mate, isn't it? Busey saying, hello Busey, by the way. If you've got any old teeth laying about from the Tooth Fairy, they make great agitators. Tony said, I wanted to work in IT, I did it, but I am far too gentle-natured for such cutthroat industry. I'm not employed and I'm a carer for my disabled son and much happier. Do you know what it is, mate? Sometimes the world works in funny ways, and sometimes it's the things that you didn't expect to enjoy that you do. Like when I started doing this, like as a bit of a hobby, like this never even occurred to me that it would ever kind of amount to anything kind of thing. I would never be able to do this and kind of try and pull a wage from it. But as soon as I started doing it, it kind of like it kind of unbottled and all those kind of creative kind of juices, I suppose, that had been bottled up for years, and that was where this started for me. I just find if somebody watches my videos, like obviously I'm really pleased about it, but a lot of the enjoyment I get is just from the creative pursuit of actually making something and actually getting it finished. Like the video I did about Godtear, obviously the game's not hugely popular. There's a lot of backlash at the minute about Steamforged, and maybe not so many people wanted to watch it. So the video hasn't done as well as some other videos that I might have just knocked together in like an hour or two. Like that one took me about 3 days to do, and it's not about the views. It's purely about the fact that I absolutely enjoyed the process of kind of doing something that I love doing, about a game that I'm really enjoying playing, and hopefully that kind of stuff comes across in the content. Really, you can see that I'm not doing it for money. I'm not doing it like because nobody's paying me to like from a company point of view. No company's paying me to make a video about their game or anything. I'm doing it because I love doing it, And that's like I am so lucky and so fortunate, and thank you to every single one of you who support me, that enable me to do this. I just can't thank you all enough, really. VG says, I can tell you from your thumbnails how much you love the design and art aspect of the channel production. Honestly, mate, it's everything. I love messing about with the cameras. I love learning about the kind of like different lenses and shutter speeds and kind of f-stops and all of that kind of stuff, ISO settings. I love kind of the tech side of it. I love the video production side of it. I love editing. I love trying to kind of put different things into the video a little bit and try new things each time. And I love talking about games. You know what I mean? I just find it really, really, really interesting and really fulfilling. That's all. Really says sorry all not fishing for attention. Honest, not at all, mate. I completely know what. I tell you what, mate. It must be tough at the minute. It must be tough. So anyway, we've got our game coming up, mate, at the weekend. I'm looking forward to that. I need to get a little bit of time to install that module, mate, and get a look over it. It's been a bit of a busy week, but I'll get there, mate. But yeah, Saturday night's on, mate. We'll get that game online. Looking forward to that. That might be the closest I get to playing some games for a while, to be fair. Right, that's that one. Done as far as I get to. Red Rose said, "Did you see Mantic's recent vid? Which one are you talking about? And are you talking about the one with Ronnie in today? Is that the one you're talking about for the Armada game? Is that what we're talking about?" Barry Kleiber says, "BlackJack Legacy, the most genuine content on YouTube." Thank you very much, mate. It's very kind of you to say nice things, mate. I appreciate that. I just hope I can continue to do it, mate. I hope it manages to grow where I need it to the point where it's where I'm still doing this in years to come. I'm saying I'm sure it will. I think I've got to just keep remembering it's a marathon, not a sprint, and that it'll grow. And if I keep producing the content and people keep watching it, it'll get there. That's all I've got to kind of keep thinking about it. Peter says, it shows really your video quality has improved a lot over the last months. Not saying they were bad before, but they look more professional. I just feel like I've got more time on my hands, mate. My brain space. I'm in a happier place. I'm more motivated. I've got a nice area to work in now. I feel like I've finally got this to a really nice kind of like a space where I'll show you when I do the kind of like the video tour and stuff. But I've pretty much got all of the tripods like out off the floor, so I've got a lot more space around me. So I've got basically like lights coming down from the ceiling and stuff now. It sounds really kind of weird, but I've got like LED light panels on like a selfie stick, and the selfie stick is attached to the ceiling, so it means I can pull it down and like, so there's a one just like opposite me there. I can pull it down to kind of light me when I'm filming, and then I can basically push it back up, and it's up out of the way, so I can get right around the table. So if I'm playing games or if I'm kind of working on stuff, like I've got like here you can see this camera here is on like a mic stand here. So this is it means I'm not like tripping over tripods and stuff behind me. I feel I'm in a good place at the minute. That's all, and I think that's given me like the time and the ability to kind of like to put a bit more effort into stuff. Or Miniac. Oh, I thought I read Mantic there at first. Miniac's recent video. I saw the title of it. Was it something about something sort of impressive or dramatic thumbnail or something? It said. Is that what it said? I must admit I haven't watched it yet, but I have to go back and watch it. VJ saying yes, bring on Blood Bowl. Yes, definitely, mate. Ian says, have you considered doing a video on the tech aspects of running a channel? That'd be cool. If people are interested in it, I definitely would do it. Let me know if people want to see that kind of stuff. He did a vid saying he was stopping doing sponsored content, putting out less vids and focusing more on what he enjoys doing rather than focusing on views. Do you know what it is, Anna? That was exactly the reason I set off down this path that I've set on. Like you see people like Miniac, you see people like Squidmore, you see people like, who's the other one, Black Magic Craft. They've got fantastic channels. They've got hundreds of thousands of subscribers. but every video is a sponsored content, this week's video is sponsored by, or this section is sponsored by, and that's how they're making their money basically. But they have to get views, they have to keep pushing it out, they've got to make content about what their sponsors want them to make content about. I never wanted to go down that route, and I knew I would burn myself out trying to make videos on subjects I wasn't interested in. And that's that. Thankfully, I kind of, let me just go back here. Thankfully, that was where I pitched my stall at, really. I was never going to do any sponsored stuff. I didn't want to feel that I had to say nice things about company stuff. And it sounds like, without watching his video, just from what you've said there, it sounds like he might have discovered the same thing, basically, that he's gone full time now, and it's reliant upon him getting views, because he relies upon sponsored content, and he relies upon like views for ad revenue and stuff. Mine's based slightly differently. I'm not earning anywhere near the money I'm sure that he's earning, but mine is about making videos that I enjoy, and hopefully that comes across so that other people enjoy it. It's like these live streams. Like these live streams will never ever do sort of tens of thousands of views. So if I was just about the views, I would never do these at all. I would just make stuff about clickbaity stuff, and talk about Games Workshop stuff. Talk about the really kind of drama stuff, like the AK Interactive thing a couple of weeks ago. I'd have made a video about that, and it just drives you down a route of chasing views, basically. And I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I never started off that way. Marcus has just finished sculpting the second arm there. Adam, quite interesting there, mate. It'll be interesting in the coming years, full of 40 and 50-year-olds. You're not wrong, mate. I bet that's the case. Pomsy saying, wonder how many Patreons he's got. I'm sure he's got a lot of Patreons, mate, to be fair, as well. And I'm sure he'll get a lot more now, to be fair. Peter chat. Ryan saying, you looked really emotional during it. I'll have to watch that back, mate. David saying, always interested in tech videos. Yeah, I'll do something like that, mate. David says, Black Magic Craft is a working man. He probably won't burn out so easily. I'm not suggesting he'll burn out, but they all do a lot of sponsored videos. Robert says, I forget how old I am, yeah. Adam says, Luke's APS ended up being his own sponsor. To be fair, Luke, I kind of respect Luke. I'm good friends with him as well, and he's basically, his YouTube channel is a mix of stuff, really. It's almost a marketing tool for his business, really, as opposed to him. I mean, some of the stuff he does has got nothing to do with these products as well, but he's essentially managed to start doing a YouTube channel about getting products cheaper than the other manufacturer that you can buy on the shelf, if you like. And out of that, he's found that he can make those products cheaper than you can buy, and then he's managed to turn a business into selling those cheaper versions of the products. So honestly, it's a real success story for me. His channel blew up. He's got well over 100,000 subscribers. His quality is great. He loves the tech side of things, and he's managed to basically find a niche in running a business as well, and he's doing great. And all power to him. I honestly wish him all the luck in the world. Marcus says, hey, I'm not that young. And Robert says, yeah, I love the hobby and love the channel, always have since I found it. And it's nice, we've got a pretty stable community as well. We're always getting new people in, which is always nice to have new people coming in. But we don't seem to kind of attract the people that, like, there's not a lot of kind of hardcore competitive gamers, because I don't really talk about it. I sort of switch and change between the different games I'm talking about. So anybody that's kind of hardcore into one particular game tends to not necessarily hang about too long. So we end up with this community of people, which potentially is much smaller than other communities, but it's a really kind of tight-knit community where everybody just loves talking about what they're up to, what they're painting, what game they're playing, what model they're building, what's this new stuff that's coming out. Have you seen this Kickstarter? Have you played this board game? Have you seen this TV show? What do you think of this music? We've just kind of grown up into this really solid community, and honestly, I couldn't be happier. I couldn't be happier. My only hope basically is in the future. I'm not even that bothered about getting more subscribers. I'm not bothered about getting more views. If the channel stayed like this forever, with a bit more money coming in, I would be more than happy. All I need to do is basically make it financially stable. That's all I need to do. As for the content and the numbers and the subscribers, that's all irrelevant. This is not based around views. It's based around building a community that are happy and comfortable to kind of support me to keep it running. Really, that's kind of the element of it. And so far, so good. Peter says, seeing as we always buy out the stock from anything Andy talks about, I really did guess we were all a bit on the older side with disposable income. I think the average age of my viewers is higher. It's 30 plus. It's not like a lot of like 21-year-old young'uns, but there are some younger ones as well. Anyway, let me see where I'm up to here. How are we doing for time? Oh, 11:15. Jesus. Right. I don't think I'm going to start doing another one now. Then I think I'll call it there. I'll show you what we've done tonight. So I've got this one which is basically being washed. The wash is just dried on that one, so that one's ready to be highlighted up. And then we've done these two tonight, and they never look finished until you do the bases. The bases being grey will obviously will hugely make it look a bit plain at the minute. But once I put a little bit of colour into those bases, and when I say colour, it'll be like earthen colours. I haven't decided whether I'm going to put grass or whether I'm going to make it more kind of deserty looking. But this is exactly what I wanted to try and do with these miniatures. The whole range, all 15 warbands I've got or something like that, will all be this kind of style where it's quite muted except for a focal colour, and that'll either be the blue, yellow, red or green. And that's how I plan to do them all, really. So yeah, I think I'll finish those off when I get some time, maybe tomorrow night or something like that. But yeah, I think for tonight's stream, I think we'll wrap that up. I'll finish my drink while we're sitting chatting here. Anna's saying there, right time for bed. Take care, Anna. Speak in the Discord chat. Ian saying, good stream, lovely minis. Thank you very much, Ian. Barry says, enjoy being 50. Way better than the alternative. Yes, mate. And Peter says they look ace. I'm happy with them, buddy. I'm happy with them. Cool. Right, let me get a drink. And then I think we'll wrap that up. So, if you haven't checked out Monday's video about randomness in gaming, don't be afraid of it. Don't forget, there is the full-length Monday live stream. If you don't want to sit through the live stream, there is the BlackJack clipped version. I think it's about 15 minutes or something like that. That was up on Tuesday, so you can check that out. Tomorrow we will have my how to play, like sort of setup, how to play, and my review of Escape the Dark Sector from Themeborn. Watch out for that one. And if you haven't checked out last week's videos, God, what did we do last week? I'm looking on my board now. What do we have? We had the Battle Systems review of the Battle Systems Fantasy terrain. It was a Fantasy Village terrain. And we had the Godtear review on Friday as well. And the subject last week, what was it? It was about the secret of GW pricing, wasn't it? It's a good job I've got my board with all the different stuff on. So there's plenty of stuff to catch up on if you've not seen the videos for a little while. If you're not a subscriber, please do subscribe. If you're not a Patreon member, please do consider pledging on Patreon. It helps to keep the lights on here and keeps me working. Other than that, I'll see you all on Monday in the next live stream. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching my video. I hope that you really enjoyed it. And if you did, why not consider clicking on the suggested video below to see more of the work that I've done. If you'd like to support the long-term sustainability of this channel, why not consider checking out my Patreon, where you can pledge and support from as little as $2 a month, and there is lots of different tiers and bonuses which will give you access to a private Discord server. It will give you free t-shirts, free mugs, a podcast every month, and a number of other things, including getting your name at the end of every video, like these awesome folks who already support me now.